What up, people? Let me share the stream. Give me a second. We got Nick Smith joining on. What up, peoples? Make sure y'all share the stream. Share as I'm doing that right now before we get started. See, Lane shot another 300. That boy been hot. Shout out to Lane. What up? Let me share the stream. Give me a second before we get started. We see Deuce do a good job with the two-man game finding arcs. What up? This time it's hard. Watch this foul right here. Vucevic. Dixon led by as many as 14. Chicago by 2. Harden stunned previously slammed in Jimmy. Quite a blatant foul. Got it across the head. We're getting ready to get started. Oh. What up, buddy? Can you hear me? Oh, it might be. Oh, can you hear me now? Oh, I don't know, man. Oh, I don't know if you can hear me. Let me check the stream. Oh, yeah. Can you hear me, Nick?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Okay, there you go. Yep, I can hear you now. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Oh, we can hear you. You must can't hear us.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all.
We can hear you. So you're good. While he's getting his audio, let me go ahead and start sharing. Just sharing the group. He said he's trying to get his audio straight. Can you hear us yet, Nick?
I can't hear anything that's going on at all, Martrell.
Okay, we can hear you. Hold on, let me text him while I'm sitting here trying to do sign language. All right. Yeah, you just don't have no audio. He's gonna go out and try again. How's everybody doing today? Little early start for us. Trying to get some guests on. I know as late as some of us be on, I do be trying to accommodate so we can get certain guests. All right, can you hear us now? All right. Let me tell him, see if you can try. We're trying to get audio straight. Welcome in, everybody. He gonna go try to get some headphones. So we got special guest Nick Smith, who's going to be recapping the Palmetto District this past year. Heard it was explosive. A lot of people have seen the videos from the from the video that EK had posted from our tour stop. Had a fun, loud tour stop. Very loud tour stop this past as people have seen the videos. Make sure please stream the audio. Go ahead and like and subscribe.
Hey, Martrell, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Can you hear us? I don't think we can hear you.
I still can't hear anything. I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you.
Let me see. Let me see if there's something on this end. Yeah, we can. I wonder why he can't hear us. Yeah, everything is in here correct. Let me. Excuse me. Let me see. We're trying to get Nick's audio while we're doing that. Can you hear us? Let me see. What let me see what is this called? Let me ask him, do you have Chrome? Let me also send this to him. See if this works. Trying to get Nick's audio. Bear with us one moment, please. Just trying to get Nick's audio working. He said he doesn't have any sound for me, but the sound is coming in from Let me try this. Send him this. All right, for those of you that don't know, Nick does work in a pro shop. So here's some of the, can't wait to ask him a few questions about that. He does work for Striking Results at Paradise Lanes, which is also a Daniel shop, for those of you that know Daniel Cohen. We also have Amanda Franco coming on tomorrow. So we have a week full of guests. And as you know, we had the Friday, the GOAT versus Stay Dangerous. I'm going to see if we can get Gustavo back on this Friday to see if he can recap what happened in the Triad District. Heard that was also eventful as GOAT took the lead. But while we are waiting on Nick, I will go ahead and let's go ahead and recap. Let's go ahead and recap the tour stop that we had just had. Had a fun tour stop. Some of us had a great time. Some would say maybe too good of a time, but definitely enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed it. We had Dirty South Legends taking on High Caliber as High Caliber went down 32-8. We also had Tri City taking on Top Shelf, where Top Shelf did win. Can you hear us now, Nick? Can you hear us?
Oh yeah. We good.
All right, there we go. We're good now. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the outside, Nick. Definitely glad to have you on. Definitely has been, I will say, a mentor to me in my UBA process with the Outsiders, along with several others. Always answered the phone, text whenever I called, to even give advice, when I need it. Definitely be seeing his videos, Pro Shop, working at Striking Results up there. Definitely could talk about that, Miss Rhonda. I got you. Savages, owner of the Savages. Well, are you the owner or is it Miss Daphne?
Nah. Because I'm a staff member from UBA, it's on the team. So it's just Daphne's listed as the owner.
Okay. Designer Daphne is what I call her. As the owner now. Also, my first question to you, Nick, because I've been seeing the videos, and I guess this is a family question. What are y'all feeding Jax? Like, that boy is sprouting. Like,
Man, it's funny. We got videos of him. I have a ton of videos of him bowling just to show him, training tools, kind of thing, like that. So I keep a lot of stuff. But if you look at like his height from, say, like this time in 2022, so just like 2 years ago, he wasn't even 5 foot tall at the time. If you remember, like the first time you guys saw him, it had to be like 2 years ago. He was, he wasn't even 5 foot tall, and then like summer went by, and all the kids his age hit a growth spurt. He was a little later, but yeah, he's made up for it now. He's every bit of like 5'6", I think now. Man, he hit it quick. We bought him. He got closed last. Yeah, it's crazy. We bought him clothes. No, I was saying we got him clothes like last summer, and then we had to buy him new clothes at like Christmas time because he'd grown that fast in such a short time frame. From last year, from like probably May till about October-ish. Yeah, he grew like 5 inches. Yeah, and he's steady going out. He's
that last
he's
video
up there.
I saw you posted, I was like, good grief. I was like,
it's funny, that little pullover jacket that he's wearing as a gift. Jesper Svensson, the PA pro, the 200 that's from Sweden or Finland, wherever he's from. Tommy So this was a few years ago, probably 4 years ago, and Tommy just gave it to me. He was like, "Here, obviously Tommy being Ebonite guy, he was like, here, you can have this whatever you want with it. I can't do anything with it." And I look at it, I was like, "Dude, it's a large. I don't wear a large." And so I was like, "All right, whatever." I closet and it's like, man, Jack going through that season now. So,
your connection seems a little bit off, Nick.
Let me see. It was streaming fine. I don't know what's going on now.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know what the heck is going on. Oh, just lost it. No, what's been going on with the internet. I had a little time, a little headache getting on also, which was annoying. Yeah.
How about now? Is that better?
A lot better.
Yeah. I wasn't on the house Wi-Fi. I take it off when I go to the shop, and I didn't switch it back on.
Yeah, that the internet's just been crazy today. It was me getting you on. I got a new sponsorship deal with this company. So trying to follow by their rules and regulations, but it was a headache. So I just had to go back to my old way just so we could get this show done, and I'm gonna contact them in the morning. Been a
I got
long
you.
day. Yeah, it's a new lifestyle for me with 2 toddlers. Like, woo.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
have that. You can have that.
Yeah, it's been a new lifestyle. But Nick, before we get into the UBA, I've been seeing a lot, and with you being a pro shop owner, I would love to pick your brain on this topic. I've been seeing a lot of people posting a lot of videos. I've been seeing Mikey Pinnell on the Bowling Science going off on people. Just joke, he ain't really been going off, but the conversation has been, do layouts matter? And I would love to get your opinion on that.
Yes, layouts matter to a degree. So you need a layout. You got to find a layout that works for you as a bowler, or 2 layouts that work for you as a bowler. So layouts do matter. You can put a bad layout on a bowling ball that if it doesn't match your game, and it will be bad. Now, with that said, they are not like the most important thing, I guess. I mean, you kind of go hand in hand with some of the other attributes from bowling, or as far as like on the equipment side. But like the guys on tour, they drill, a bunch of bowling balls when they're out on tour. They use like 2 layouts, 3 tops. They rely on cover prep to get the desired look that they want.
And when you say cover, you mean the surface?
Yeah, the surface of it. They balls that are shiny, they'll hit with a pad, or balls that are dull, they'll make shiny, depending on what they're wanting to get. They rely on the covers to get all that done. So they're not as important as like Mikey tries to play them out to be. Like, he's really specific. And what J.R. Raymond was saying about him, in my opinion, he does regurgitate a lot of what his dad says and did for the game of bowling. Who his dad is a pioneer,
Yes.
arguably the greatest mind to ever enter the bowling universe, I guess. But it's not as like I said, it's not as important as they make it out, but it is more important than what, J.R. Raymond said it is. And that's what I was telling Daphne when she asked me about it a couple weeks ago when it was all going down, and a couple other people that came to me. And I was like, yes, it matters. Like, that's why we get your information as a pro shop person.
Right.
When you come to get a ball, that's why we get you on the lane and get your measurements and get your, your numbers to match you up with a layout that'll work. We don't, just put some random placements on the ball and be like, all right, go have fun.
Right.
There's a chance it could work, but there's a greater chance that it's not. But once you find that, like for me, I have 2 layouts that I use depending on the ball's cover. Shiny balls, I like really tall pins, longer pin to PAPs, dull, like solid surface stuff that's not shiny. Same pin to PA distance, but the pins aren't quite as tall. So that's why I found that works for my ball roll. And I don't stray from those very far. That's what I do when I do the videos. They're all, the numbers are pretty much the same, because that's what works for me.
Right.
So, that's what I said. That's where it matters.
Now, for people who don't know, when you say a longer pin, that for the pearls, that means you're wanting the ball to go longer, snap later.
Yeah. Well, okay. So your bowling ball, you have 3 numbers when you're putting on a layout. If you're using dual angle, that first angle number is kind of where it swings the CG or the mass bias. CG doesn't matter anymore, but let's just assume it. It does. Moving it left to right. The lower the number, the more for a right-hander, the more to the right that PSA, the mass bias, gets. That creates a little earlier flare. So the bigger the number, moving it to the left, that creates the the delayed flare. The second number is the pin to your PSA or not PSA, PAP, your positive access point. That distance, basically, the longer that number or higher that number is, the longer that pin gets from your PAP, delays the core starting up. So makes the ball a little weaker. So retains energy a little longer. So the lower that number, get less than 3, get in that 2, 1 range. Core's revving up really, really fast. And then the last angle number, it's what moves the pin up or down. So the higher the number, like up to 108 or whatever it is, whatever you want to go to, that drops the pin lower below, it's pinned down. The
Right.
smaller that number moves that pin tall and moves it up high. So I like to use small numbers, something like less than 35. I've got a couple balls I put 25 on. That's what we call tall pins. That's where that number comes from. On symmetrical bowling balls where the CG doesn't matter, because as soon as you drill the thumb, it turns every symmetrical bowling ball into an asymmetrical core.
Yep.
So that CG, that the mass bias is now the thumb hole. So that front angle number automatically changes. So that's where we say CGs don't really matter. That plus the static weight rule going away. But those that pin to PAP and that back number on symmetrical balls is just those are the ones you got to focus on.
Yeah, because I into my journey into this sport, I'm learning how important it is to know those numbers when knowing, your role, your bowling ball, and then it also helps you not buy bowling balls you don't need.
And I had this conversation with many people. One of them is one of the, it's a pro bowler. I don't put as much stock into core numbers as everyone else does. I don't, because if you line up 7 or 8 bowling balls, different manufacturers, core sizes are about the same, whether it be symmetrical or asymmetrical. The numbers are going to be the same in half those balls, but those cores don't roll the same. Well, why don't they roll the same? Their numbers are the same. Why don't they roll the same? So there's other variables that go into just those numbers. Now, I'm not saying those numbers don't mean nothing, but they're not as important as everyone makes out. Be like, oh, I need the ball with the low diff, or I have to have balls that have this RG. I have, it doesn't, to me, I don't put a whole lot of stock. I don't really pay attention to a lot of them. I know a lot of people do. It's just not like, it's not the tops of my list that I look for when I look at a bowling ball. I'm like, oh, this is what matters most.
Now, do you feel like they should be focused more on surface?
Yeah, surface is key. Yes.
I want you to really dive into that, because I tell a lot of people that is the first thing that changed my game is when I learned about surface.
Surface is.
Can you explain how easy it is to control your surface on the ball from the people who are fearful that they may do something wrong?
So especially if you're adding surface on your own, it is a feel thing. You just gotta do it a couple of times to understand like how much pressure you can apply, what you're doing to the ball with how much pressure you're hitting. If you hit a ball with say 500 grit, you don't need to apply as much pressure unless you're really trying to give it some lines. But if you're hitting a ball with say like 2000, you can apply a little more pressure because it's not as gritty. Now, with that being said, that's assuming you have like new pads. If the pads are worn, obviously you can lean into a little bit more. Certain pads have a little more teeth to them than others as far as like brand wise. Me personally, I see no reason for anyone to ever hit a bowling ball by hand with anything more than like 2,000-3,000. Like people have like 4,000, 5,000 pads in their bag, and I look at them like, why? You might as well wipe it with a towel. You can't apply enough pressure to the bowling ball to do anything. 1,000, 1,500 are like, those are the most common pads in people's bags that they hit them with. Yeah, you can feel like I keep CTD pads in my bag because they're really, really good, and they have a very long lifespan for using them. And that you don't have to apply a lot of pressure to them. I mean, you lean on them pads. Like I got a 500 pad from them. I lean on that one too hard, I may take the label off by hand. They're pretty gritty, which is good. Especially if you bowl like on a lot of volume, it's a good thing. So it's just one of the things. But yeah, applying surface to a ball, but you just got to do it 1 or 2 times on your own. It's kind of like it's one of those things like you can't learn to do it until you actually try to do it. Relying on others to do it for you is just you got to learn to do it on your own. I tell people all the time, like they buy pads and they go bowl and they're like, well, what should I hit it with? Like, just hit it with this by hand. Like, well, how much do I do? I was like, you'll know. Like, trust me, you'll know. It won't take you but one time, but you put too much service, you'll be like, okay, I can back up a little bit. I don't have to really lean on it. But it's one of those things I tell people all the time, like just go by feel. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Now, for people who don't know who Nick Smith, before we get into the UVA and the tour stop update, talk us through your journey in bowling and then how you ended up at as a pro shop operator.
So I started bowling when I was 3. My father bowled. My mom bowled. She threw a ball down the lane. She didn't really bowl. My dad got her into bowling, and he used to tell a story that he got my mom into bowling later. Like, I've got a older sister, younger brother, and a younger sister, and we're all within like 6 years of each other. And so my dad got my mom into bowling because bowling centers back then, late 80s, early 90s, offered free childcare at the centers in our area. So my dad was like, hey, you can put the kids in the daycare here at the bowl and come bowl, be around adults, drink whatever for a few hours, kid free, and come. It's a night out. And so that's how my mom was like, sold, I'm in. So, yeah. So, I grew up, I literally grew up in a bowling center, whether I was bowling or watching my dad or in the daycare with other kids. Everyone knows the name like T Fleming. Me and her group, we stayed in that daycare at the bowling center where we're at 3 nights out of the week. Me and her and my brothers, sisters, whoever, other local kids. But yeah, like we talk about it from time to time, and we're just like remembering like where we came from in the area in that Bolero Center in Greenville. It used to be Star Lanes. We know exactly where that daycare used to be. And so, that was where we were. 3 nights out of the week, our parents bowled together, my parents, her parents, bowled together. Like I said, that's where it started there at a very young age, and then just old enough to where I could start bowling. As far as like league wise, I think I was like 5 or 6 when I got into like league bowling. Didn't start to take it really serious, I guess, till I was about, I guess like 13, 14 ish. My dad talked about, I played baseball growing up. And my dad told us, hey, look, you bowl on Saturdays, you play baseball on Saturdays. Can't do both, especially in the summertime. At the time, like winter ball, travel ball, that stuff that they have now, that was not a thing 30 years ago. Not near as big anyway. And so he was like, you got to pick. And I was like, I want to bowl. I like baseball, but I like bowling more. So I started focusing on bowling there through teenage years, whatever. As I got older, teenager, got into bowling as an adult. I moved up when I was 19, 20. Yeah, not 20. And I was always fascinated with like pro shop work. I was always in a pro shop, hanging out, talking with the guys that run the shops. I'm talking like 3-4 days a week in a pro shop, just hanging out. Right. I love the smell of a bowling ball being drilled. I've always loved it. And it's just one of those things. I love it. And so then I had the opportunity when I was like 22-ish. Because I've been doing this about 18 years. So yeah, 22. The pro shop owner here in Greenville. Yeah. Tell me about it. Pro shop owner here in Greenville. I showed interest. I was like, dude, I want to learn how to do this, like for real. I want to, teach me. So they was like, all right, cool, come on. And so they taught me and trained me up, and I worked part-time, just bouncing from whatever center he needed me at the time, just kind of filling in. And then he put me on regular payroll, just a couple months after that, and was like, all right, here's your nights that you work. Go have at it. And that's what I did. I ran his shop here in Simpsonville, just working basically part-time. It was like I had a day job and running that, and filling in my night or two a week or whatever, and my one Saturday a month, because we had a crew, a handful of guys, and we just rotated weekends. So doing that. And then so here we are now, the Striking Results brand. It was actually it was good timing. The company I was working with as a manufacturing supervisor did a layoff right after COVID. I was the last supervisor hired, so I was the first one let go. And so literally as I'm on the job hunt, unemployed, Daniel Cohen hit me up and was like, hey man, here's the opportunity we got. What do you think about this? And so we went in with them at the Striking Results brand, and we opened up the location here in Spartanburg, and I've been doing it ever since. So that was probably 3 years ago.
And then how did you first hear about the UBA and then into wanting to start a team?
So we got approached for UBA. Dude, we are in year 10.
Ooh,
I think nine or 10. Yeah, like 9 or 10, I think. So we were members of another team out of Columbia. The team doesn't even exist anymore. Called the Lake Murray Rattlers. Me and Daphne got asked to join. Someone else owned it. The guy asked Daphne to help kind of do the office work on it eventually. But anyway, we were just bowlers. Just tell us when you need to bowl, we'll go bowl. We did that for 2 years. The first year we were we bowled in Greensboro every stop. we was in the Triad district. It wasn't called Triad at the time, I don't think, or it could have been. I don't remember. But yeah, we were bowling like goat and
from
high.
Spartanburg to Greensboro?
Yeah, we were coming. No, we were from the team was out of Columbia, but see, we were the only team in South Carolina. Like we were the furthest south. Columbia. So at the time, everything was like north of Charlotte. The Charlotte teams didn't even exist. So it was like from Greensboro to Raleigh. That was it. Nothing else. So we was put in the next closest district, which is, the Greensboro. So we were, I tell you, we would travel. We bowled in, we bowled Goat, DC, High Point, Swag, all those teams that are in that district, as far as like the ones that have been there a while. Anyway, so then the next year they were like, hey, we're going to move y'all because you're out of Columbia. We're going to move you to the Sand Hills district, which is like Fayetteville area. Mm-hmm. We were like, fuck, man, it's Fayetteville. That's like 2 hours from Columbia. We're an hour and a half from Columbia. So we were like 3.5, 4 hours every stop, 3.5, 4 hours. We did that for a year. And I was like, dude, this is old. I'm not doing this anymore. So we were getting ready to cut out the UBA altogether. Me and Daphne made a decision. We're not coming back. A couple other teams out of Charlotte had started to pop up. Like Leonard had Bufu at the time. And this is when Bufu was like the other, the real Bufu, the good bowlers. And as much shit as Leonard is given about his team, there are a lot of teams that spawned off from Bufu. Kings Court, Cheetown, DSL. So some of like really, really good teams. And so at the time, like we bowled that 1 year in the Sand Hills. That was the year that Leonard's team at Bufu, they made it to Battle Bowl and bowled in the finals. All right. Mm-hmm. But they had super names on them, like Jack Ness bowled and Tyrone Stevens bowled, and George Cohagen was on the team for Battle Bowl. Withers bowled. Like I said, they were good. And Josh run
real quick. We're gonna get in that tomorrow. We got Amanda Franco coming on tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
To that journey, so I can't wait to hear that.
So we left. We were getting ready to be done all together. We told that team, we were like, dude, we're out. We're not driving to Fayetteville every week. Like, I'm not doing that. So we were going to quit. I got asked by a couple people to join their teams. We were like, dude, we're just not interested. It's just too much traveling. Y'all are going to be out of Charlotte or north. And I was like, man, I'm not doing that. Well, then Daphne just had the bright idea. I was like, what if we started our own team? And we were like, thought about it for a couple weeks, had a couple other bowlers that was like, I think we should do it. So we created a team. Well, we wanted to make sure at the minimum we got in like Charlotte's district, because we heard they were going to create a Charlotte district. So that's how we picked Spartanburg. We're not from Spartanburg. We live 45 minutes south of Spartanburg.
Oh, wow.
But we knew, we were like, dude, if we come out of Greenville, there's no way they're putting us there. They're going to run us to the beach again. So we picked Spartanburg because it was, an hour and a half from Charlotte. So that's where we went. And that was the first year of the QC district. So Kings Court was there, Cheetown, us, Bufu was there, Mob. Trying to think who else was there. But anyway, there was like 8 or 9 teams, something like that. Well, we made the play. At the time, you had like y'all's first year where we had like district playoffs, and then it went to the Southeast playoffs. We made it to the finals of the district playoffs, ended up losing, and then that winner went to represent Southeast. Well, then the next year is when it really started to the team started to really blow up in the South, and that's when they started to create the Deep South.
So from the Charlotte area down, you were the first team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were the first outside of Mob. Mob was always out of Rock Hill. But Rock Hill's so close to like Charlotte, North Carolina. They're considered North
It's like on
Carolina.
the
Yeah,
borderline.
we are. And then Leonard's team, they were always out of Columbia. But yeah, we were number one because Leonard was on. God, what was the name of his team? He was on like a TNT or I don't remember his name, but he was on another team the first year that we joined. But we are team one from the South.
So you got to really see this thing blossom.
Oh yeah. That's what people don't understand. Like me and Daphne been in like from like we weren't day one for like the whole UBA in the Southeast, but we were only like a couple years behind them. But as far as like creating things, like I mean, we were pretty big in helping get where it is in South Carolina and Georgia. Like yeah, we were number one.
That's dope because I know a lot of times my first couple of years in, I used to look at your recap sheet and see what averages and type of bowlers that she was bringing into tour stop and try to emulate that. Because fun fact about the Savages, that is the only team the Outsiders has never beat.
And I remind you every time.
You are the only. We came close in Savannah. We came close a couple of times. I think both the first time it was like a 30-point. And then the second time was like a 20-point, if I remember correct, in Savannah. So it was close, but close doesn't get you nowhere.
Yeah.
So with the UBA, the way it's growing now, I always got to ask this to everybody: if you were the CEO of the UBA, what is ways that you want to see things happen where it can continue to grow and get better?
It can only, at least for the Southeast, we can only go west. You have to get bigger in Georgia, Tennessee, that way. Can't go north anymore. North Carolina is absolutely full. Starting to touch in Virginia, but the thing about Virginia is so close to that DMV, the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. That's what it's for. So North Carolina is the limit.
I used to live in Virginia, and Virginia is very similar to Georgia with the number of bowling alleys. Yes,
everything is very close, and and it's funny. How long ago did you move to Georgia?
2015.
Okay, so it's been less than 10 years then, and you're 9 years in. All right, so me and Daphne used to travel to Atlanta twice a month when we first got together. So we've been together 16 years now. There was probably 2 times as many bowling centers open then as there is now.
Dang.
So there was like, I want to say in like 2011 or 12, I'm trying to remember. I think it was somewhere around the early 2010, somewhere in that range. They had like 6 centers closing a year.
Man.
Like I said, it used to be
they got a lot of centers out there. And Virginia has a lot of centers where Virginia, if they get enough, they can have their own team, their own district also.
Well, that's the thing. Like that's where it's got to grow at, and that's part. DMV is not near as big as some of the other, like the Northeast. Obviously, Northeast is big. Southeast is getting there. But that's the push this past year, and then in years going forward, the Georgia teams they have to create more teams. Georgia should have its own district. They really should. It's getting closer, and I contribute a lot of that to like you. And as long as DSL has been around and Franco's been running it, she didn't do anything to grow it as far as like really grow it. I mean, they had 100 bowlers on their roster from day one. And I told them, man, I was like, you have 100 people. That's 3 teams. Like, that's 3 teams. Yeah. And she was like, well, I've tried to tell them, they should create. I said, no, make them. Like, hey, look, y'all aren't bowling. If you want to be part of this, start your own team. I'm cutting you loose. Yep. Make them do it. You force their hand.
Franco's a northerner just like me, and they're a little different down here in the South. Not to say anything bad about them, but
I've spent my fair share of time around people from up north, so I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you just like I said, a lot of it has spurned, especially that all those teams that popped up last year in Georgia. And like I said, you have the new teams like that were spurned off from other teams from South Carolina teams. So I think it's going in the right direction. it just needs a little bit more because like one of the things that we always said, you need at least 8 to run to have your own district. You got to have at least 8, and that's the reason why like the 2 South Carolina teams got pushed into the Deep South because they're the closest ones to the Georgia border. What's up, Ty? And you know it just makes sense geographically. But if you could get a couple more to replace them, we'd probably pull them back, into like what my group in the Palmetto district. But hell, we're about full too. We can't take many more. We're almost at that we're at 10 now. We bring them to and we're at 12. And then at that point you start to run into like split stops and it's just, man, that's a headache.
I would want, I mean, me personally, I think to grow in those areas, I think we have to kind of not have to, but we should look into doing at least one event in those markets that we want to.
The only thing about, and I 100% agree with that. The only thing that's going to stop it is the UBA. You got to show them that you'll show up as far as the numbers.
Right.
My thing is this: bowlers in Georgia bowl. They show up when it's in their area. If it ain't in their area, they ain't coming. I said it from day one when DSL was first created. I said if there were more stops in Georgia around the Atlanta suburbs area, DSL would run the UBA in the South because their bowlers are that good. Their roster is that good. But their bowlers aren't going to travel a couple hours to bowl 3 games when they can travel 25 minutes to go bowl an event in their backyard. That's not going to happen. They can go bowl for $1,000. Yeah, their core group. That's what I'm talking about. Like their core group. You look in their core group, like they're not looking to go bowl 3 games in a travel league, to try and make $500 in brackets when they can go bowl a tournament, probably that same weekend somewhere that's probably 25, 30 minutes away, bowl for $1,000 and make, another 700 to 1,000 in side action.
Right. Especially when their core has been to Battle Bowl already.
Right.
And experienced and have done the things that other teams have done. I think that also, I think if they would have came in new, if they wouldn't have came off of Bufu, for example, and would have just joined, I think they would have done it like maybe that first or 2 years.
Well, I'm trying to remember who all was on Bufu, like Amanda got brought in with Leonard. I'm trying to remember who all from that DSL team was on it. I want to say Tyrone and Charisma were there.
Yes,
pretty sure Gibbons was with them. I know Withers was. Panda was there. I'm trying to remember, but it was definitely it's their core group. And I said it. I said from day one, like they're the only reason they don't, they didn't excel more when we were in like the original Deep South is because they had to leave Georgia. But then when we split up this year to make that Palmetto in the Deep South, I told Melvin, go ahead and don't count. He only bowled at Battle Bowl. He didn't travel here. That was before they had game rules in. He didn't bowl nothing else down here. We don't count him. I told Casey, I was like, DSL is going to run that district. And she was like, well, we'll be able to compete. And I'm like, yeah, you can compete, but DSL is going to run it. I'm not saying they have it's not just they have the best bowler.
Oh,
they
no,
have
no,
the best top to bottom. Like they can put 9 of the best. Whereas you just take the Outsiders, for example, you guys are going to be able to put 4 that are equal to them. I'm a huge Demetrius Wilcox fan. I think I love watching him bowl, and he's as good as anybody on that DSL lineup, but he's only one. DSL
I agree with you.
DSL's got 6 of him.
When you talk about their whole core, let's be real. If they're on their A game, to beat them, you're going to bowl the game of your life.
Right. Yeah. And so, and I told you, I was like, they're gonna run because they don't have to travel anymore. They can. It's okay. I'll travel 40 minutes to go both the 3 games for a few hundred. I don't know how y'all's bracket action is in your district. I don't know. But
the brackets are like.
but but I'm saying that like that's to them. All right, oh, okay, it's a little easier now. But that's now they're going to be a team that like you will this year. I think we will get to see exactly what DSL can do because they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the
Yeah.
Southeast playoff. Now, if that group, I don't know, I haven't looked at games. I don't know who else bowled for them all year. But if they put their best 9 on the floor that has games of that beats the game requirement, they could legit make a run if they're willing to travel.
And they have been.
Yeah, but I told you they will because they don't have to
They
travel
have
that
been.
far for the tour stops.
Yeah, their core, their main core have been bowling to qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, so like I said, they're gonna legit they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with to this year. And it might be a good thing because they see how well they've done, so it may keep them involved and interested, and maybe it draws up more interest. What I've seen and the people that I've talked to, you have interest like in the surrounding suburbs of Atlanta, but you still haven't tapped into West Georgia, like that Columbus area, like west when you get out west of Atlanta. There's nothing really there. And like the northern part of Georgia, there's not much there. It really does south either, but there's not a lot of bowling that goes on in South Georgia, to be honest. But yeah, those are the areas you got to create a teams in, and that's will get you your strictly Georgia district. And there's enough bowlers in Georgia, and the Georgia itself is big enough that you could do a Georgia East and a Georgia West and have
That's true.
8 on each side. You know what I'm saying? Like that you could do that easy.
Yeah, I would love to see the UBA like when they started to expand to Texas. When I went to the military tournament, a couple of guys, I think the owner, one of the owners of the teams, they had their team down there for the military tournament. So I got to talk to them. They were extremely excited. So it's pretty cool to see them grow. Like you said, I would love to see Tennessee grow. I think they can definitely put together.
You think, dude, you think we grew fast in the South? Let that shit get hot in Texas. Man, they'll triple in teams what we have. And not even be close.
Oh yeah, I've been out there to Texas and bowled. Yeah, they travel. They travel on their tournaments.
They bowl in Texas. Like they bowl.
Yes, they be having lunch sweepers. They got like Plano.
Yeah.
They have a sweeper that starts at like 12. And every time I go to Texas, I get a late flight, like a mid-afternoon flight, so I can bowl at 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right before getting on the plane. Like they bowl. And they be having like about 50 to 60 people at that sweeper at noon. On a Monday.
They bowl up there. It's crazy. Like they say everything's bigger in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. All of like they take their sports serious. Football's big. They built bowling is big. Oh,
I was stationed in Texas. High school football.
Yeah, they're almost more crazy about high school football than they are college. Like it's insane.
Yeah. Oh no doubt.
Because there's obviously more kids play high school than college because you got to get in or whatever. But high school football, dude, it's almost so more cutthroat there. Like it's crazy.
Them school fields be looking like NFL stadiums. Like it is crazy. Them kids, they walk around. They are literally local celebrities. Like they don't have to pay for nothing when they, like if you go to one of them big schools and you want, man.
Yeah, but dude, that movie Friday Night Lights was based off a true story out of there in those schools in Texas. Yeah, that was in the 80s. Imagine how big that shit is now, 25 years later. No, it don't. But it gives you kind of the idea of like the mindset of people out there with high school football. But that was in the 80s. Money wasn't near what it is now. So now that shit is, like I said, the resources and everything is just way higher. Like it's insane.
Yeah, if Texas blow up, I can definitely see it in California and then so on.
The possibilities are extremely endless as far as like how big the UBA can get. You could almost rival what TNBA does. As far as the size, having as far as like I'm just talking about like the size, being all over the country. Because everybody likes that environment. I mean, TNBA has almost the same environment as the UBA does, not quite to the extent, but there's loud music playing, lots of cheering, side action. things like that. So, like I said, it's you could definitely, you know, can get the same thing out of it as far as just as an organization. You know, so I don't know. I don't think you well if you didn't move into 2015, we used to have what we call it was called TCBA down here. It was a travel league, men's travel league. Obviously not like UVA, you know, it was like regular league bowling. But we had season long, we bowled. Well, when we did the TCBA Nationals is what it's called. It was more times 9 times out of 10 it was in Texas. So we bowled finals in like Dallas, Houston, Austin, places like that. And you got to see exactly how big bowling was out there because that was where it started with the TCBA.
See, now
One year the finals.
I didn't start bowling down here till after COVID.
Okay.
So when I first
got
here, I was working.
TCBA stopped in like 2018, 2017, something like that. 26, maybe in 2016. It was something around that time frame. Wasn't big in Georgia. It was literally South Carolina, lower parts of like North Carolina, like Asheville, Shelby, Hickory area in South Carolina. And then it went out west where it was like Louisiana, Texas. Maryland had its own region, district, and then that was it. But it was huge, and up to the entire state of Texas did it, the whole state.
Yeah, that's great. Now, what's your opinion on moving around Mega and Battle Bowl to kind of tap into some of these markets?
Yeah, you gotta bring them south. You have to. I get Delaware for the Northeast. You know, the North gets their event. It's close to them. It sucks that it's so far for us, but you know, I don't know how many times have you been to Mega Bowl?
None.
Just twice. No, you've never been.
Yeah,
okay,
Mega Bowl, something always happens around that time where I'm.
Yeah, in August. Yeah. So if you look at the participation from Mega Bowl versus Battle Bowl, Mega Bowl to me always has higher participation because the South travels there, but the same people that travel there from the South also travel to Battle Bowl. Difference is the North don't travel to Mega Bowl. It's too far. They don't come down. They'll travel to Delaware because it's close for most of them. They ain't coming down to they don't come to Mega Bowl. So like I said, that's your biggest difference. So if you brought that from Mega Bowl, if you brought it even further south, dude, you'll never see them. They had Mega Bowl in Greensboro one year, and then nobody show up. Not from the North anyway.
Oh wow, I didn't even know they tried that.
Yeah, they tried it. They brought it to Greensboro. Dude, it was like bowling a Southeast event all weekend. You bowled the same bowl with the same, saw the same faces the whole time.
But that's why I think if you branch out a little bit, and not even branch out, because like take a couple of pages from these other books and these other leagues, and just take a small group, travel, spread the word. So many people that don't, and there's so many people here in Georgia that never even heard of the UBA that been bowling.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, you got to think I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, so I had never heard of the UBA before until someone approached us from Columbia to start a team. You know, and I don't know how they got involved with it because there wasn't anything even that far south. We had never heard of it before. And so, you know, like I said, when we got into like those first tour stops and things like that, I mean, our team was bad, especially that first year. I think everybody goes through it. We were terrible. We didn't have bad bowlers on the team. We had to find that like what worked. And, you know, it just, you know, meeting people for the first time. And to me, the tour stops, they weren't that loud. They didn't talk trash to, at least not to us. Maybe they did because we were a new team. Maybe they didn't talk to us because we sucked. I have no idea. But I know the first year we didn't make like the district playoffs. Like I remember we didn't even bowl the final tour stop. We were tied with disorderly conduct for like 6th or 7th in the district. We had like 10 or 11 teams or whatever. We were tied with them. Couldn't make the top 4. So we was like, fuck, dude, I'm not. The people on the team was like, fuck it, we ain't driving like 3.5 hours to go bowl when we can't get nothing. We're not getting paid. Like, nah, y'all, you can have that. And so we was like, we forfeited the stop. We were like, you know, here's our like lineage fees or whatever we owed for that, for prize fund or whatever. But we're not coming. And the other team, like I remember people complaining about disorderly conduct. It was like, that's messed up. You didn't show up. And I was like, why would I travel 3.5 hours to come bowl for nothing? Like, what are we doing here? And I do remember I made a comment to a guy, and he kept going on. I said, "Dude, look, we bowled you earlier in the year, and we showed up, and you only took 10 points from us. What are you complaining about? You finally got a chance to win points. Like, what are you complaining about?" But then like I said, then the next year we were out of that district completely, and it got worse. You know, we had to travel to Fayetteville every other month.
So that's a great segue to my next question. When you said, "Yeah, I just didn't figure it out yet," what would be your advice to these new teams coming in to the UBA, looking, or not even just new teams, but new bowlers getting started in the UBA that just they don't. That we can explain the UBA as much as possible, but until you experience it, I don't know if you saw that video that I had posted and EK had posted. We had a young bowler that started talking to Robert Cook, and it didn't go well for him. But sometimes, I bet you though, the next time he bowls, But so those people who before they experience that, what would you say is their, your advice to them about joining?
So I tell people this all the time when they ask me over the last 4 or 5 years about the UBA, and they ask ask about it, whatever. And I say, look, if you don't enjoy a loud environment, it's not for you. Not even like trash talk, just loud. Like the people in South Carolina. I'll say this: South Carolina is different from Georgia and North Carolina. The bowlers in I'll say this too: South Carolina is a black hole for bowling. It is a dead zone. That's why we always have to leave to go bowl things. But the bowlers that do bowl in South Carolina, they're very traditional. That quiet surroundings, just the old style of how bowling was, like golf. That's how the most of the state of South Carolina is. And that's just the way it is. And I tell them all the time, they're like, look, if you can't handle music being played, cheering, not necessarily shouting at you, but just shouting in general, even like trash talk. No, but not even the trash. But if you don't like noise, it's not for you. And they're like, "Oh, I don't mind noise. I don't mind noise." I'm like, "Okay, well, come try it." But there's going to be noise. I don't tell them about the trash talk because to me, I've like I said, I'm 9-10 years into this, and I've been talked trash to while bowling twice. That's it, twice. So, it just, but that's not one of those things that bothers me as far as like, oh, you're talking trash, we're gonna get Nick out of his game. No, I'm gonna make a good shot or a bad shot, whether you're talking to me or not. So I've made some of the worst shots in my life in an empty bowling center. So it doesn't. You talking to me ain't it? I can make a bad shot all by myself. It ain't you. But it just it's one of those things. But I do tell people that if you're not used to it, you can try and get comfortable. But after a couple times, if you can't get comfortable, hey man, it ain't for you. Ain't for you.
Now let me ask you this: as an owner now, for the new owners that's watching and the people that's thinking about becoming owners, what do you look for in a bowler, or what do you see in the guy to be like, okay, he's one of those ones that I know he can definitely be an asset to my team?
Consistency. I don't need you to be the best bowler on the planet, but I also don't want you to be the worst one either. I want consistency. Right. I don't need, and that's what we look for when and I'm not going to reveal too many strategies of how we do things, but it's pretty simple. It's not hard. If you're a smart person, you can just pay attention to what the winning teams do. And then, that's kind of where you go. But what I look for when if we're recruiting bowlers, whatever, I look at people that's like, hey, they bowl, it doesn't even have to be like stellar, but they are consistent everywhere they go, no matter the condition, no matter the center, they are going to really give you this score here. That's what I look for. Another big thing I look for, be left-handed. If you are left-handed and we bowl on house shots, if you have a clue, come on and talk to me.
All right, with that being said, going into the tour stop that just happened Sunday, I heard you had faced a comeback of a Jordan. I mean, I'm sorry, comeback of I don't forgot his name that fast.
Josh.
Josh, yes. But I heard that wasn't a factor this Sunday. Go ahead and give us a recap of what happened in the Palmetto district this Sunday.
So Palmetto, you keep calling it Pimento. It's Palmetto. So I don't know if you saw the link that you sent me last week. It was the YouTube link for what you uploaded when you go live. Yeah. I was commenting on that versus your Facebook stream. I don't know if you saw the comments I put on it. And I told you, I said it there. Complete Anarchy does not have the energy that Ray claimed. He does not. Their team does not. They have Josh that likes to talk. That's it. And he's been hurt. He ain't here. All right. Darnell, Logan, gone. The other guys that were with him that would get loud, like the Debkowskis, Sam Benefield, like that group, they have their own team. They're gone. So it's just Josh by himself. Yeah. So the other group that hangs out with them is from Columbia. They are not a loud group. Now they're a group that can chant like with themselves and get the that's what I'm talking about. Let's go, that type stuff. But they're not like loud in your face like Josh was. Mm-hmm. Well, Josh ain't bold none all year. Well, he showed up Sunday and he was like, well, I'm gonna bring my Josh energy. I'm gonna be there. I didn't hear not from him not one time. I didn't hear not a single clap. Let's go, attaboy. Not a one.
Not a single
from the whole team. Not a nothing. And I told Ray when he because like Daphne replied to Josh's comment about that Josh, she goes, it's amazing how losing will kill that energy. And I was like, yeah, like I said before, they do not have that big energy that Ray likes to claim that they got. Oh, nobody does what we do in the South. Dude, they don't do nothing. They wasn't loud last year. Not to the, I mean, they got into it. Josh got into it with a couple people, but that was it. Like, it wasn't that big a deal. They just had a really good season last year. And this year is the complete opposite. It is what it is.
And but I said it. I've been kind of surprised to see like the results.
They lost their core. Yeah. They lost their core. Like I said, the group that bowled for them, 85% of stops was Darnell, Debkowskis, and Benefield. Those guys are gone. So now he's left with, Josh to try to bowl. Josh has been hurt. He can't bowl. The other groups that's on his team, that's a good core, like Daryl Hill and the guys that bowl with him, and Travis Nolan and Charlton, and those guys, they're not always available. So they struggled. If you look at their scores, I post I actually keep up with, from my district, total pins for the year, like stop after stop, like the combined totals for everybody. Right. And then I just did last week, somebody asked for me to do the points against, like what's being shot against you. And so I've listed that as well. So like who has my Savages, we have the highest we have the highest pinfall as a team. We also have the highest pinfall against us as well. So, but Complete Anarchy is not in the top half of the pinfall as a team. So, that's not a very good recipe, to be able to win. So I see Terry, David Circle is still with them, but he's the same thing. He has not bowled all that much. He has not bowled every stop, or he may have half the stops in. He may have 5 in at this point, but I'd have to go back and look and see. But yeah, like I said, he's part of that core group that, he bowled a bunch last year for him, and he hasn't really done it for him. So it's just a down year. Everybody has a down year. To me, last year was a down year for us, missing the playoffs. The year before we won the district regular season and then got, bumped out in the first round of the district playoffs. With the format being a little different now, if that format was then what it is now, it's probably a different story. We probably give that playoff, the Southeast playoff a run. And I think I actually like the format the way it is now, being in the top, like for y'all, it's top 2, us is top 3, getting into, the Southeast play, just going straight into a big giant bracket versus having to try and win 2 more matches to represent your district. Like, I didn't
March Madness style.
Yeah, I enjoy that more, and I think it's better for all teams involved versus having to, because bowling is a very very fickle game. Anyone can get beat at any given
Yeah.
time. We got 2 years ago we got bounced out by Augusta Rain. They are not a better team than us. They were that day though. That round
And
we
they
had
caught
beat
a
them
hot streak.
twice.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
caught a
that's what I'm
hot
saying.
streak.
Like they
Yeah.
they 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 got hot at that
Yes.
time. We had beat them twice that year already.
Yeah.
So they weren't the better team, but they were just better for those 3 games.
Here's
And
the
so
crazy part.
that's the
That year when we faced them in their home house. They were the last place team, and they made it all.
right.
They shot all the way up to the district championship.
Yeah, I mean they got hot, and we're kind of doing the same thing now. We're not quite as hot as they were, but we've won 5 straight stops. We were in 8th 5 stops ago, 6 stops, whatever it was, and now we're in like we're still in I think 5th, but we're less than 20 out of first.
Yeah. Oh,
That's how tight that's how tight
crazy. Yeah.
there's only 4 points separating first and third. It's pretty tight race right now. And I don't know if you was going to try to touch on it, but like our next stop, the top 14, actually the top 6 teams,
16, I heard.
all bowl each other. So like it's Leonard bowls
Augusta Rain. I think you said.
Augusta Rain, who is in 3rd, and then Rampage, who's 2nd, bowls 4th, which is or maybe it's vice versa. I don't know. Augusta Rain may be 4th. Anyway, that's who they're bowling. So the top 4 are all bowling each other.
Crazy.
Us in 5th. Yeah, us in 5th. We're bowling Gatekeepers, who's in 6th. So ours isn't quite as big a draw or matchup as 1 versus 3, 2 versus 4, maybe 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, so whatever it is. But that's huge. Like for us, if we take another 30, 2 teams got to lose.
Yeah.
So if we take 30, whoever takes 18 or less, we jumping you.
Same,
So-
and we're in the same boat too here in the Deep South District. I think we're in 5th, but from 3rd is only, I think it's less than 10. I just had it.
Yeah, I seen like high calibers at like 230 something, like 232 or something like that, 234 or something like that.
Yeah.
You guys are in like the 2 teens. So I mean, you're not far from 2nd with 3 stops to go.
And then the last matchup, and then Critical Role is right there too.
Yeah, they're right behind high caliber, right?
Yes, and then Southern Asylum is right there, and the last match before which could be back-to-back position rounds for it's Southern Asylum versus Critical Role in Conyers. So it's going to be interesting. Critical Role has a tough schedule because they have, I believe they have DSL next.
Oof. Where's y'all's next stop at?
Southern Lanes, Douglasville.
Oh, okay. But see, the problem by that is there's a lot of people in DSL that bowl there and bowl good there.
Yes.
So it's not a home house for Southern Lanes. Not like what you would think.
Yep.
And that's the problem. That's why I said DSL is so. Another why I said DSL good. You ain't many houses you go into where they don't have bowlers that bowl there and bowl good there. So that's
how
what
I found out about the UVA. They had jerseys everywhere. Everywhere I turned, there was a DSL jersey. That's how I found out what the UVA was.
She had 100 bowlers on her roster day one.
Yeah.
Day one. Not like, oh, we'll start with 50 and like when Savages first started, we had like 25 people. Now we're almost 80 something. They had 100 at day one. Like as soon as they created a team, 97 members. I know it because I used to have to look up all their averages. 97. I looked at Amanda and I was like, Amanda, you are killing me. Like, cut some of these people loose. She was like, I just can't get them to leave. I'm like, make them.
About that. It's also 250 Masters weekend. But I still think they have enough. They still have enough.
Oh yeah, they can still put up. Now they'll lose Gibbons and they'll lose Ty and Withers, have like AJ, people like that are gonna bowl, but so will the other teams too.
They have a good core for Southern Lanes.
That's what I'm saying. But the Southern Lanes people will probably be bowling 250 as well.
Right.
So it's gonna be there's gonna be equal. But the thing about it is DSL's B and C lineups are still better than your B and C lineup.
Yeah.
So, y'all bowl on the 28th, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to touch on this. Right. It never fails. Ray, every time he opens his mouth, he does something to piss me off. When he was trying to explain why our stop is on the 21st, so there's a lot that went on behind the scenes. I didn't give out all the information on purpose because everybody didn't need to know. It wasn't their business.
Need to know,
But
right?
when Ray tried to explain it, like, oh, he booked a stop, but it got double booked, and so we moved it instead of moving centers or some bullshit like that. Yeah. So when you say it like that, it makes it sound like I didn't make the best decision or I didn't keep anything and like didn't consider all options. Just Nick 100% considered all options. This is the problem, and I can give you the information of what happened. So we set the schedule up in like August, September-ish time frame. All right, that's when it's done before the first stop. Okay, made all the bookings with the centers and everything done early before the season starts. I find out at the end of October, the assistant manager at the center that I booked it in Anderson, did not convert that information over to their schedule book.
Ooh.
He also was terminated from the bowling center, so he's not even employed there anymore at this time.
Oh, man. Oh, wow.
So the manager of the center just happens to call me. Yeah, so the manager of the center knew we had to stop, in April. And he just happened to be going through some notepads in the desk in the office, and he saw the date wrote down and the time. And he was like, 28th, 1 p.m. He goes, 1 p.m. The only thing he said he knew that it was at 1 p.m. is like a tour stop. And he goes, looked at the date, and it was like, that's a Sunday. He was like, let me call Nick. So he called me. He's like, hey, do you have something scheduled in my center? And I was like, yeah, in April the 28th. I said, I talked to the guy. And he was like, yeah, that ain't going to work, man. And I was like, what you mean it ain't going to work, dude? It's almost November. Like the season's already in. He's like, dude, that's the weekend of our city tournament. He was like, you can't, we can't make that work. He's like, what can we do? And I was like, so he told me the situation, what happened with the guy and, all that stuff. And I was like, shit, let me make a phone call. Let me find out what my options are. He was like, I'd like to keep you guys here in the center. This is I'm going to own it. It's our mistake as a center, whether he's an employee still with us or not. He was an employee at the time. We should have taken call and caught this. Right. He said, so he was like, we'll take care of you. If you can change weekends, we'll make it right on our end. I'm like, all right, let me see what my options are. So I talked with Mal and Tynell, and they were like, dude, it's your district. You do what you want. You can go whatever weekend you want. He's like, we just give you like these dates as like, hey, this is what we have going on. I'm like, all right. Well, in our area, that stop was a random draw stop. It's a neutral center. It's a neutral house. And it was a random draw matchups. Okay. So I had to stay inside those parameters as far as neutral house. We ain't got that many neutral houses anymore in South Carolina. And so not very many UBA friendly houses. I called other centers to try and get it in for that weekend. They all told me no. So I went back to that center and I was like, hey, look, so I can move it. And they were like, can you do the weekend before the 21st? I was like, yeah, sure. Let's do it. He's like, okay, we'll take care of it. I was like, all right, cool. Thanks. So in November is when I made the change. Like, hey guys, we're not bowling 28th. We're bowling on the 21st now. So it wasn't some, like Ray, like some bullshit that Nick did. No, that wasn't it. It just, my hands were tied and this is how it went down. Yes, I know that there's an event that weekend, the brawl. I think it's at the beach or something.
Oh,
but
yeah. Forgot about that.
Again, that's and anyone that says that's a brawl weekend, that's why you have more than 9 people on your roster. Send some people to the brawl, send some people to the tour stop. If it matters that much to you, So
yeah, you definitely have to be flexible. And we definitely, stuff like that. It's frustrating because I know it's not really the same job, but it's the same people we deal with as a tournament director versus a district manager. It's just like things happen. This is like y'all don't work, right. y'all don't have lives, y'all don't do things. Like y'all already know stuff happens. Like you gotta sometimes adjust, and sometimes it does get annoying when you hear bowlers constantly complaining about certain things, and you just be like, what other sports did y'all play in y'all lives? Because y'all, it gets to be a headache, and I do not and I know me and you had a conversation when they were looking for a district manager for our district. And shout out to Casey. I'm so glad she took that job because she is great for it. And she's very transparent, very fair, and also still while helping trying to get her team to win with Turner. He's doing a good job with them this year, and also while just giving birth while being pregnant this year. Congratulations on the new baby! Shout out to Casey and Turner on the new addition. On an already big family, so she can kind of, I can kind of relate to what she's going through.
Right.
Because it's not easy. It's not easy. Like being a team owner, people don't realize that it's more about our team than it is about us.
Right.
Individually. We don't get to have we don't get to do much of anything that we want to bowl or we want to participate in because we always put in our team first. And I don't mind it because I probably would just lose $60 to $80 anyway going to these tournaments right now with the way I've been bowling. But it's I love the UBA. It's been fun. But I do have to ask a question because you mentioned his name and he's number one, and I've seen number one in y'all district, and I've seen him getting blasted on. It's a two-part question. Number one is, why do you think Leonard gets the bad rep that he gets with his team doing well? And look at it from my end, being this is my third year in the UBA, and his team has been very good 2 out of those 3 years that I've been in the UBA. So I don't know the past history, but and then how he got to be the best, not the best, excuse me, but the number one team right now in the district.
So first part, he catches hell because Leonard is known for doing shady shit. Mostly from his tournaments. Like payouts being wrong, keeping money, all that stuff. I don't bowl his events for those reasons. A lot of people don't bowl for those reasons. I do know for a fact on his team, and if Amanda will divulge in this, she has way more secrets about what was going on, the inner workings of that team with DSL. But a lot of people left because of him and the things that he was doing and his payouts for his bowlers. I know for a fact bowlers over the years that have left his team, they've told him like, hey man, I'm not coming back next year. I'm going to leave at the end of the season. And he's like, all right, well, if you leave, you don't get your money.
Oh shit.
So a lot of, like I said, to me, that's shady.
Records.
He, like I said, he's done shady shit. He charges people more than the $45 for a tour stop, for various reasons. And he gives them various reasons.
It's $45.
Yeah, 45. Well, see, we had the option to go up and you just increase your prize fund.
Yeah, we did.
My district elected to leave it at 45. I know Leonard was charging extra at one point in time for people to get jerseys. Not with like $50 or whatever. He was charging like 75. Again, just shady shit, and so that's why he catches hell. So that is part of the reason, not necessarily the Boo-Foo team that's people want. It's Leonard, and what's the term, like if you lay with dogs you get fleas. So that's where it comes from. That's why the Boo-Foo name is kind of like comes with some flack from the peanut gallery, I guess. From the they just people root for him to lose because like I said, he's done some questionable things in the short time frame. I mean, I've known him like about 10 years, I guess, less than that. And I don't consider that to be a very long time, but in the time that I've known him, there's more than one occasion, more than a dozen occasions that's been like, that ain't right. That doesn't add up.
Right.
So, but it is what it is. Leonard's not a bad person. He's not this evil person or anything like that. It's just I think sometimes he just doesn't think. He don't think before he does things.
So you think people just prey on? I don't want to use that word, prey on it, but you think people just want him to lose more?
Yes, because of that. Yeah, because of the, I guess his past and things that he's done in the past. Like I said, that's why they look forward to him, failing, I guess. As far as how he's at the top, I mean, winning stops. I mean, he has benefited. I have to go back and look. I know I want to say he's second or third behind us in total pinfall for the team as far as pins against. I don't think he's had. I don't think he's in the top 5 as far as pinfall against. Oddly enough, the team that is right behind us and pins against is Body Snatchers. So it's bad enough that Clyde has a bad team, but everyone seems to bowl really, really good against them. But it's amazing how much better of a bowler you are when you relax bowling a team that you know is not very good, versus if you bowl a team that you know's got some bowlers. You tend, a lot of people, they're gonna freeze up a little bit and try a little harder, that type of thing. So it's easy to relax when you see Clyde lined up on the other side of the lane. So I think that I attribute that to it.
Now, speaking of, I don't want to get into Clyde's team because I do have to give Clyde a little credit because and the reason and the reason why I'm giving him credit is because he literally, even though despite the results, he has a good time with this.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people in the district. Just in general, Rakad is a super nice guy. Will do anything for anybody. Has the best intentions. Just doesn't really have it as a team and as an owner. He just can't seem to get it together. They're a little more competitive this year than years past, but
will not let the trash talk stop him. Will not let his he will talk trash from the time he get into the parking lot to the time we leave the parking lot and have faith in his team. So I do have to give Clyde credit for that because that is ultimately what this is about, is us enjoying ourselves and having fun. But with that being said, what do you think was the difference? Because we have teams like the Gatekeepers that came off of Clyde's team that were able to figure it out
it's just
a little bit fast. And
it's just one. It is just one bowler. Monty came from that team. The rest of them are from, the bowlers that actually bowl in areas. And they're not bad bowlers. So it's just Monty. That was it. No one else has came from there. That was it. Hey, hang on 1 second, man. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second.
While Nikki is going, I will go ahead and display our standings. And I will also kind of do a quick little recap of – there we go. So here we go with this was at Delk Road. Ooh, I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me see if I need to blow this up. Yeah, I don't think y'all can see that. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. But yeah, as y'all can see, we had DSL defeat High Caliber 32-8. We also had Tri-City getting another victory off of Top Shelf 30-10. Critical Role went down to the Outsiders 28-12 in a fun matchup. And Full Throttle ended up getting a tie in one of their matches for Southern Asylum with a 29-11 victory. So it was a pretty fun stop. It was very loud by a certain couple of teams. We don't know who those two teams were. That was extremely loud. He said put a splash in tea. But who do you got going out of the playoffs out of your district?
So we take 3. When it's also, I was actually going to do the same thing I've done in the past, and it's kind of like a prediction for the last few stops. I've done that before, so I'm going to be doing that in the next week or so. My team personally, we catch Gatekeepers back-to-back stops.
Yeah, we got
so we got them this time in Anderson. They have a couple bowlers, or a bowler, 2 bowlers that bowl there. We have a handful. And then the next stop, we go to Columbia at Bush River, and we bowl them again there. Again, we have some Columbia bowlers. They have some Columbia bowlers. So I'm not going to say I do give us the advantage. I still think we should probably take around 30 both times. So if you give us that 60, especially with the next stop being, the top 4 bowling each other, I do think we get into that top 3. What is it? Reapers always loud with them bells.
Yeah, they
don't-
Cowboys. Them
They don't
joints,
yet. Casey don't make y'all put those up.
man. Nah, they cowbells. Them things be ringing.
They put in a rule this year for this season, like no artificial noisemakers while you're bowling. Did you know that? Yeah,
No.
the people somebody tried to pull out like a bullhorn, a megaphone at ours, and I'm like, that was put out. Yeah, they said no artificial noisemakers is what's supposed to be. I mean, you run the district, be consistent. You done it this far, so keep it going. But yeah, don't be surprised if those teams make it a playoff and they try to bring it out and somebody's like, cut that out.
I don't think mathematically they can make the playoffs.
Okay.
Mathematically, I'll have to do the math, but with that being said, too, with the district playoffs, and I don't want you to go ahead and spoil your predictions.
I haven't looked at it fully yet. It's just like because I don't even know who bowls who. Like I don't memorize the schedule. Some people, everybody asks me like, who do we bowl? I don't know. You got a schedule just like I do. Go look at it. I don't memorize it. I don't even know who we bowl. Barely who know who we bowl. I definitely don't know what everyone else bowls. I know the next one because it's 2 weeks away, and so I've had to look at it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I said, I couldn't even begin to do a prediction now off the top of my head because I have no idea who's bowling who. But if I was gonna guess and just do who I think is gonna get there, I like us to get there. I think Bufu gets in. And the next one is down to like 3 teams could get the last spot, and it's Augusta Rain, Wasted Potential, and Rampage, the new team. I tend to think Rampage is going to get there, so I think that's the 3 that come out of our district. Wasted Potential, God, I like those guys a lot, but they just always find a way to just fall out. Super nice group out of Savannah, great guys to bowl with as far as like they're very competitive. Nice guys where they have fun or whatever. They just, God almighty, man, their name just says it all. Wasted Potential. They could be really good, and they just haven't done it. And Augusta Rain, I mean, they're at the top, or they're in the top 3, 4, whatever. But I don't think they're built for a late run. And obviously they're bowling, Bufu next. And it's in Anderson. I tend to think they'll probably pull that one out. That Bufu will anyway. So
yeah. Now let me ask you this, because this is what I really want to ask you. Why do you think our districts get so disrespected by the North?
Because nobody knows us.
Let me not say the North, because I want to be specific. North Carolina.
Nobody knows us
in the districts.
If you so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now, if you don't bowl in the area where those people bowl at, they don't know you, so they assumed you're no good. They didn't think we were any good either, like just not even our team, but just like me and Daphne, until they started seeing us bowl and they watched Daphne win a bunch of stuff. I've won stuff. And then they're like, oh, okay, they can bowl. Like I said, they don't know half the district or over half the district. Right. So they're just like, they're no good. They're not gonna get anything done because they think they're the best. That's their, you can call it disrespect or the lack. It's just a lack of the unfamiliarity. They just don't know who we are as far as a district as a whole, because a lot of the district from us, like Wasted Potential, doesn't travel a lot of things. Augusta Rain bowlers don't travel a lot of things. To my knowledge, not very many people have won anything else, not like an unholy or, a team event or, anything like that. Savages, we've won the district, we've won a brawl. We've won some other things. I've won an unholy with some people like me and Tyrone Stevens won unholy together with Anna Pinnell. Daphne's won unholy like 4 times. Whether it be Southeast Unholy, Mega Bowl Unholy, Battle Bowl Unholy, she's won them all. With various different teams from bowlers. So like I said, it just the lack of participation from a lot of the other teams from North or from South Carolina and from Georgia is the biggest reason why they don't know that everybody in the UBA knows DSL can compete because their good bowlers show up to Mega Bowl and Battle Bowl and they've won stuff and they compete. So that's how they respect that group. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if Demetrius Wilcox was to show up to all those events, they'd respect him too. They just don't see him because they don't know him because they don't bowl out. He's not traveling to it. And the same thing for a large group of the guys on your team or any other team. They're just not there, so they don't see it. That's all, and that's all it is they're just unfamiliar with it. That's how you get respected and viewed as a contender or a legit competition. You got to put yourself out there and get noticed and get seen and compete.
I also look, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I also be looking at their scores, and I'd be like, looking at y'all scores, there's no way you can tell me that y'all will be able to compete with us. They be having so many 40-0 victories. Even Clyde don't even beat 40-0.
Fun fact, Clyde's bad as he is, he's never been 40-0'd ever in the history of his team.
And I've never seen anybody in our districts be 40-0 since in the 3 years I've joined. I've seen it a number of times out there.
Yeah, we've only 40-0'd one team in our history. We beat either the Carolina Rollers or the High Point Hot Shots. We 40-0'd them, up in North Carolina a few years ago before the Deep South District was a thing. We were still in QC. That's the only time we've ever done it. We've taken 38. I mean, we beat DSL last year 38-2 in Augusta.
Remember, yeah.
So, we've come close several times. I actually thought we was going to get 40 that day. But, we don't do a lot of 40-0 and down here. It's just because there's so much parity. If you look at like not taking anything from Hitman, they are a top tier team. Just haven't quite been able to put it together to win everything, but they are a very good team. Mm-hmm. They bowl in a cupcake district. There's not a lot of parity in that district. Now, Triad district, whole lot of parity. There's a lot of good teams in that district. QC district, not a lot of parity. You get Dilligaff is really good. Cheetown's really good. Not even because conspiracy theories, they're in the Triad now. But Kings Court used to be very competitive. Mob used to be very competitive. The other teams, they are not. Boondoggle, they're okay. They just get a lot of pins and they bowl over average in a lot of the places because they bowl in hard houses to establish their like entering average, and then they bowl over their average when they go other places. But yeah, that's a lot of what happens in the QC area. They have a lot of people. If you can get, I don't know how familiar you are with guys that bowl out of like Charlotte area, but Charlotte is one of the toughest areas to bowl in as far as on their like house conditions. Mm-hmm. There's not a super easy house in that area, in my opinion. There's hittable houses
too, right? AMF and Bolero.
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple there. They have one that's like downtown Charlotte, used to be called Tim Park. University is an AMF center. I think that's the two that we use. They have another one that's like the Matthews Center's Bolero, but it's not very UBA friendly. But yeah, those places they're tough. Like they're not easy bowling centers to bowl out of. So they establish a lot of low averages, or lower than their ability. If that makes. So then when they go into areas that are not near as hard, they whack them. Yeah. So, and it's not like they don't do it on purpose. It's just the area's hard.
That's how I feel about Georgia. I feel like we have a couple of difficult houses where people have lower average, but then where they go, and I don't want to make it sound like they don't keep up with the houses down here, but the mom and pops, they take a little bit better care because that's their business, that's their livelihood,
right?
Mom and pop, so their lanes are taken care of more, which makes the shot a little bit better. And I think a lot of the guys, like you said, in North Carolina, they come down here to our district, they wouldn't have that same look that they have out there for too long.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the biggest reason why the like you said, the lack of the respect thing, or it's not even a disrespect. I mean, it's just going off of what they know or don't know. And that's all it is. I take a lot of it as with a grain of salt as far as what's being said about a lot of the teams, because it's just they don't know. They don't know you're any good, so they're just going to assume you're not. Because they haven't heard of you. It's like, oh, if we haven't heard of you, you can't be that good. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the same. You just can't help it but think that way, especially if you're been in the bowling community. Like, as long as I have, like if I haven't heard your name, you can't be too amazing.
Now, with that being said, we have a 9-on-9 Palmetto versus Deep South.
12v12.
12v12. I'm sorry, 12v12.
Yeah, 12v12.
And I love it because it's presenting talent to people, like you said, who don't get to see these.
Yeah, so
other districts do it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, because I was actually gonna I talked with Casey. Shout out Casey. We went to her. It's not really a baby shower because baby's already born. It's kind of like a welcoming party, I guess is what I called it. Over the weekend, and I told her, I was like, hey, we've got a flyer out. Obviously, we posted it, months ago, just to kind of give people, to look for it. But we went ahead and finalized some details for the specific events for the weekend and for the main event. So like the regular events, we got a singles event, a doubles event, and a trios. Mm-hmm. Pretty much same format across the board. Pretty much like the singles event is just like 4 games, total pins wins. Kind of like like an unholy type thing, but it is handicap. We're not going to use the UBA handicap where it's like 70 of 240. We're going to go 90 of 220, like normal league. The doubles event, same thing, like 4 games, 90 of 220, total pins wins. The trios, I think we're going to go 3 games standard and then 3 games Baker. Same thing, 90 of 220, but in the Baker format, you get a third of your pins. So like if you get, 30 as the regular, you're going to get 10 in the Baker game. And then obviously the main event, 12v12, 6 scratch and like 6 handicap. UBA style, it'll be 70 of 240. We'll use your UBA like a tour stop. It's going to be 12. You get each team will have a bowler represented in the 12. So like you guys have 8. So 8, you're going to get 8 bowlers. From one from each team are automatically done. Like it's done. So you're going to get your other 4 based off the criteria list, which is, I want to say it was 15 games. I'll have to go back and look at my notes. I want to say 15 game minimum from tour stops. You have to bowl 15 games. So that's, you got to bowl at least 5 stops, or maybe it was 18 games. Might have been 18 for like the halfway point. Maybe it was 18 games, 18 tour stop games. And then, what I plan to do, and I think what Casey's planning to do, get the team owners or a team rep together. Be like, hey, look, here's the list of qualified bowlers. Let's pick our team.
Yep.
And go from there. So Melvin, the weekend is, I'm pretty sure it's like June 30th. It's at the end of June.
Yeah.
Because the last tour stop is like the 7th or something like that, and it's not going to be playoff. We chose it to be not playoff weekend. I have to go back and look at the flyer, but it's at the end of June. So yeah, that's when we plan to do it. Again, we treat it like, I've been part of all-star teams before, and it's like, all right, here's our first choice. Reach out to the bowlers. Hey, this is what we're doing. You've been selected. Are you interested? The bowler says no. Go to the next person in line. That's our pecking order. And then we put them on the floor and let's go bowl. Let's go have fun. Y'all are doing just like us. We're doing 50-50 raffle. And all the money we raise for the 50-50, both my side and her side, goes into a prize fund for that main event. The losing team does pay lineage, but the winning team, there is going to be money for them at the end. And they don't have to put anything up for it. It's going to be free of the bowl. They don't have to enter. Like I said, but losing team will pay lineage. So, like I said,
the people that want to compete will compete, and the people that have been competing deserve the spot to compete.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, and it's gonna, it is gonna probably hurt some feelings. if you don't get selected. I get that. It is what it is. But you know,
Criteria.
at the end, yeah, the criteria you got to meet it. You know, 18 games. That's a lot in a season. You know, that's 6 stops. You know, that's 6 out of 13 stops. It's a good bit. You know, so then you know you got to have those games in. So you know, to me, 18 games shows like you're committed to the season. That you bowled half the stops. That's a commitment. So, you know, like I said, I didn't want to, you know, 12 to me is too little. Even at 15 at 5 stops, I'm just like, you know, I can get 5 stops in.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like
5
it.
stops is 5 stops is pretty easy. But I didn't want to go in like 8 or 9 stops. Like that's a lot. You know, that you start to get into like, you know, 2/3 of the season. Like to me, that's a bunch. So I thought 6 was a solid number. I'm pretty sure it was 18 games, but we'll have to go back and look. But yeah, it should be looking to see a finalized like a format post that I was going to put both in my page or my group's page, and then I'm still on the Deep South. I don't know. Do y'all have does y'all still use the Trash Talk page for the Deep South?
No,
Or
we have a deep. We call it the Deep South, but it's not the Trash Talk page. I think the
Okay.
Trash Talk page is still open though.
I got you. Yeah, I'll send the info to Casey and let her share it over there, because it is time that we need to get people starting to, you know, looking at, you know, signing up and wanting to show interest to bowl the other ends. Because like I said, we're going to make it's 2 events on Saturday, event Sunday morning, the main event in the afternoon. So like I said, it's a whole weekend's worth of bowling. Now I know people don't like going to Anderson because it's hot, but it's the halfway point for the 2 districts, and it's 40 lanes, and they're accommodating.
Yes,
like so, you know,
the food in there too.
Yeah, the manager is a bowler on a team, so they're UBA friendly. They're gonna work with us. They sell alcohol, so you know, to me, it checks all the boxes. Outside of it's not, you know, it's cold in there. You can get uncomfortable. But my solution is bring a fan. I don't know very many bowlers that don't have one of those Ryobi portable fans. So, you know, bring one. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my thing. As far as like, that's my rebuttal to the, you know, complaint about the house. You know, you can't bring it too far into South Carolina, because then you make the travel not good for Georgia. And then you can't put it too far into Georgia, because then, you know, travel's too far for South Carolina people. So to me, Anderson is literally, you know, 15 miles from the state line. Doesn't really get much better than that.
Because I think, believe that's the last date of the brawl too, on June 30th. But
yeah, I don't know. But it's the brawl that's like not closed, right?
I'm not sure where is it at.
There's only 2 more left that are down here, and one is the beach, and the other one's like Raleigh.
Greensboro, I think.
Or Greensboro.
A&F Sky Lanes, I think, because Dougie's doing something that weekend, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Not sure.
We're going to give you way more to bowl at our event.
It's the Final Four, I think he said.
The Brawl's Final Four? Well, ain't no teams from down here won it, so. That Brawl's the Final Four. Yeah, again, that's not worried about that. Yeah, their lane machine bit broke. It is what it is. We'd all got a bowl on it, so.
Yeah. But yeah, they I love this because it gives the people who want to compete to compete. Yes, there's people that, you know, love tournaments, and we all act like we never made $1 before, so we run to these tournaments and everything. But we have to I think there's still I keep saying this about bowling, there's room for everybody. There's room for people who want to compete. You know, yes, money is great, and I'm not saying don't go get your money, but I think this is for the people that want to compete, you know, and want to, you know, claim the best and want to represent their district. And I hope this catches on to other districts where, you know, maybe the winner of each one gets moved on and see who got the best.
Yeah, I would love to see like a district all-star event, like all-star teams from each district bowl each other. Yeah, I think that would be so cool to see, like a bracket format or, you know, something like that. I think it would be pretty cool.
Show up to that.
I think that could be pretty cool. I don't think it will happen.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, like in the Capital District, if you put the mandate in that each team has to have a representative, dude, that team's gonna suck.
No, they
Now,
can't.
if you look, yeah,
But you gotta start somewhere.
if you load it down with all Hitman bowlers, yeah, they can compete then. But anything outside of that, and this is like, nah, that's not gonna be a very good team. So that
But that
team,
forced
that
them to
that
get better.
district won't show it. That district won't. No, it'll just they won't participate.
They just won't. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
they're
have
just
no
not gonna
pride
do
in
it.
themselves, huh?
Not in the district. They have pride in their team, not as the
Yeah.
district as
Right.
a whole.
Right.
So I just that's the reason why I don't think it was just and when I knew the districts were splitting, it was like something that immediately popped in my head, like, dude, we could do a district versus district event, and I think it could pan out to be a pretty cool thing. That could be pretty fun.
Yeah, I would love to see like how Ray was kind of doing with it being streamed and everything.
But I ain't worried about him.
No, I'm
He-
talking about the stream, the not
It
necessarily.
ain't
him, but
there. I
about-
seriously doubt that. Now we could probably find somebody to stream it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He ain't.
saying.
He ain't getting the UBA to do it. Their UBA is not going to stream a non-UBA
Oh yeah, I
event.
don't.
So, but we could.
Like
I
you
mean,
said, it's something they will have to see that is working, and I think
right.
if we do it ourselves, and like I said, I won't even mind because he know what I'm about to say. We had somebody with an immaculate camera recently in one of the stops. But yeah, we could find somebody to do that. That would be great because, like you said, it's just a matter of it being seen, and I love that idea, and I can't wait to see it. See it even growing from there too. Also.
Yeah. As much as I know other people want to claim the idea as their own, it is not. It was mine and mine alone that I just came up with like, hey, I think this will be really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was funny when we put it out and I had other people like reaching out. I was like, well, you should do this. You should do that. I was like, guys, I'm not a newbie. Everything that you're telling me, I have already considered and already thought it through and thought of the outcome. So, I can promise you this isn't my first time. I know what I'm doing.
Been bowling since 6 years old. Been working in the industry with 18 years, 18 plus years.
Yeah, this isn't my first rodeo. I've been involved in many tournaments, been on both sides of bowling and running. I know what I'm doing here. I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, or the best at nothing like that. But like as a bowler, I know what needs to be considered and what they want to see, and which is the reason why I'm trying to drum up money. Because the last thing you want to do is like, let's get these bowlers, these high-end bowlers that bowl for money. Hey, y'all want to come bowl for free?
Right. No, that makes sense. I definitely understand.
They're not going to do. I wouldn't do it. Hey guys, you want to come bowl for bragging rights? I'm like, man, I'm not 16 anymore. I'm bowling for brag. I'm not bowling for an ego anymore. What are we doing here? I want to bowl for money. Even if it's just a few hundred. Well, I didn't have to put nothing up, so a few hundred is still a few hundred. I mean, these call out matches that are going on, like Daphne's got to bowl that women's 9v9 thing this weekend. They're putting up 250 to win 250. To me, that's stupid.
With Dre and them, the one that
I've been from the beginning. When we go to Battle Bowl, they try to do a 24 versus 24 North versus South match.
Right.
Put up 250, but you're winning 250. I'm like, I'm not putting up 250, relying on 23 other guys to help me win $250.
Yeah.
That's not happening. I would rather put up 250 along with everyone else, put up 250 and just bowl pot games.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. I don't like that. But there's no way in the world, there's no tournament or bowl in the world that would be like, hey, let's go put up 250 to go bowl. Oh yeah, what we getting back? 250. Yeah, no, we're good.
Not relying on other people, right?
Yeah. Now, especially when I got to rely on a handful of other people to make it happen. I did the math. So if you took that same 250 and chopped it up and went $75, bowl the same 3 games, took $75 of that 250 per game, and so it comes out to $225. Run a pot game, $75 per bowler gets you in each game. So 75 times 9. Like that, you could pay the top 4 or 5, and first could get like $750. So that's 10 times their money to win one game.
Yep, we plan
You
on doing
could-
something like that coming up here
you could-
recently out here.
We used to do that years ago with like $100. $100 would buy you in for 3 or 4 games or whatever. It was chopped up amongst the games. Lineage was covered, and then the prize, the payout for each pot game was this. I would rather see that, and I think that would be more entertaining because it puts more emphasis, like the individual bowler per game. You could also take the remaining 25, take 10 off the top to cover your 3-game lineage. So that leaves you with $15. $15 from each 9 bowler. That's your series. So now you're going to pay out a small few $100s for high set for the 3 games. So you could, if you bowl well, dude, you could come out of there with like 2250 if you swept it.
Yep.
Could you imagine putting up 250 to get back 2250? Now you're gonna get people interested.
Yep.
Putting up 250,
yeah.
Putting up 250 to get back 250?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Y'all can have that.
All right, I got 2 more questions for you.
All right, let's make them quick.
You having, from what I know, KC branch off of your team and forming High Caliber and doing well. Tell me what that feeling is like when you see somebody who branches off your team and is doing as well as she has.
I don't have any feelings for it whatsoever, good or bad or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect me. You bowl good, you bowl bad. Hey, you wanted to do your own thing. Anyone, and I will tell this to anyone. You want to go leave to go do your own thing? Good luck. If you have any questions, reach out, whatever. But good luck. At this point, I'm gonna treat you like I treat everybody else. It is what it is. You're a competitor at this point. They're in a different district, so it's like, cool. Y'all go have fun. Good luck. Best of luck to you. Like I said, it doesn't bother me one bit. That they split off and did their own thing. Happy for you. Good. Like I said, I just wish them the best, and good luck, good bowling, good luck in high scores.
So, and my last question to you, and I've been down this train with everybody who comes on the show. Magic Genie, you rub it. Fix bowling in 3 ways you fix bowling.
God, cut out the bowlers. Bowlers are their worst enemy. There's nothing is ever good enough. No matter how good it is still never good enough. There is always going to be a complaint. Take away the mass proprietor, like the corporations, like Boleros, the Spare Times, places like that, because they're all about the dollar and they're greedy. Cut them out. I would also make the patterns unified across the country, across whatever organization. You have X amount of options to use as far as a pattern wise, and this is what you have. And if you're not using this, it don't count. It's not part of us, whatever. USBC, I know, tried to do that some years ago when they did their red, white, blue patterns or whatever, but it wasn't going to be enforced across the board. Centers were just going to not sanction because they didn't want to use those patterns because they weren't going to yield scores. But in my opinion, that's what I would do. Make the scoring pace or what you're bowling on, even across the board. Now, other things come into play like lane machines, lane surface, things like that. So it's not going to quite be the same or whatever, but at least the pattern, the numbers are the same, center to center across the country. But yeah, that would be the 3 things I would fix. I'd do away with the giant corporations, make the conditions level across the board, and man, I'd cut out the bowlers. Yeah, the hate. That's it. The bowlers, the hate, man. It's like I said, bowlers are their worst enemy. We are our worst enemy.
I agree with that.
No one is allowed to do better than the next person. Like in their minds, like the person next to me can't be better than they can't bowl better than me. I can't have it. If they do, they only did it because of this, right. Or I didn't bowl better than because of this. The things happen. The attitude of bowlers, and it is everywhere. It's not it's not just one certain area. It's literally everywhere you go. Like I said, no one roots for the next man. No one is ever happy for the next man. And it's not just bowling; it's just life in general. It's just how people are.
I disagree. It's bowling. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a sports official. I see flag football. I've gone out to the Nationals in Orlando and refereed, and there's teams from certain cities and states that'll lose and they'll stay in
And
and
stay
cheer
and
on.
cheer.
Cheer,
It's just
yes.
that to me comes down to like that's coaching. And that's just it. But I bet if you looked at like as a whole, as a group, every team
Mhm.
that lost didn't stay and watch. It was just like a one team or a two
Right.
team out
Okay. So
of
yeah, yeah.
but as a whole, they all ain't staying. They're not happy that they lost, and they're not going to
Right.
congratulate you that you won. They're mad. And a lot of it is competition. Man, there's so many people that I talk to now, and if you look at across the Southeast page, everybody's worried about this person's better than this person
Oh
or
my
this part. I hate that. Why can't we all just be good and move on? Because
oh
this is
my.
the thing in bowling, anybody can lose on any given day. The
Yep.
best bowler on the planet is Jason Belmonte. He lost today in a bracket to a kid that no one had ever heard of. That
Mhm.
don't mean that kid's better than him. He was just better in that bracket, on that condition today. It just is what it is. There is no, oh, this person's better than this person because they did this. None of that shit
Yeah,
matters.
they did a
It
European
just,
or
yeah, it
they
just like I
got
said,
killed.
I'm so every time I see it, it's like, oh, this person's better than this person. Or yeah, man, who cares? Just go bowl. Like,
Yep.
the pins
Everybody
fall
got
where
to
they
play the ball.
fall. Yeah, the pins fall where they're gonna fall. Do the best you can. If it works out, it works out. If it don't, you know what? Life ain't over. Come back and try again tomorrow.
Yes, sir. And I definitely appreciate you, Nick. This was a great conversation, definitely informative. I appreciate you having time. Anytime you want to come back and join and talk, I'm
Oh yeah,
here.
yes. Yeah,
Yep.
say less.
Definitely want to get you on as we get closer to the 12 on 12.
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll
You
get
know,
we
get
get
Casey on
me in, get
also.
Casey in. Yeah, we'll discuss it. We'll go back and forth.
I want to have tell Daphne would love to have a women's show that I plan on setting up. I would love to have her join.
Okay,
Um,
I'll let her know.
and wish Jack well for us and his continued success as he's going. The
Yeah.
basketball looks amazing. I wish I can do that.
Me too.
That was I be seeing people back. I tried the backup ball one time and almost broke my damn wrist. So
Man, my wrist screams at me anytime I think about it. So
yeah, it was not fun trying to do that, but it is. I applaud people who do it. It is an art to doing that, and it is a skill set that is
mhm.
very 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 hard. It's
Yeah.
not as
And,
easy as people think that is.
one thing that's not advertised for Jack, he can turn it the other way too. He
Oh,
just started. He can throw it normal two hand. He's not as good. He is definitely better at off the backup side because that's what he's done. 90% of his bowling life. But yeah, he can hook it the other way too.
that is. Oh, we got the champ in the house.
Nobody care about that.
But yeah, I appreciate you, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Anytime, like I said, anytime you're welcome.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me. Like I said, I love talking bowling
Oh
and
yeah,
just anything about the game. I said I love the game. Been
yes,
around it my
sir.
whole life. It's one of the reasons why I elected to, I wanted to be, part of the pro shop. Now, I will say this, being, love you too, Juice. Uh, Being in a bowling center 5 days a week does burn you out fast as far as dealing with bowlers and things like that. I don't want to bowl that much, but I love being around bowling as far as like
Yeah.
helping people and talking bowling and things like that. It just makes me not want to throw a ball as much. But it is what it is. Everybody goes through those spurts where,
Yes.
there's like, yeah, I want to take a little break or whatever. Everybody goes through it.
Me the
So
last.
but it just yeah, like I said, it just me being in a bowling center 5 days a week, it's just like, yeah, I don't feel like throwing a ball today or this week or whatever. Hey, Nick, you want to come bowl this weekend? No, I don't.
And I get
People
that
that
too. Yeah, it's because like you say, you love the sport and everything that you said on how to fix bowling. I definitely agree with you. Um, it's we can be our worst enemy, and that's what really motivated me to start this show is to so we can talk about bowling and start having that conversation with ways of fixing it because and me, I think it's up to my generation to start to start figuring it out now to leave something for our kids, because you get tired of like you said, the crybabies and the complainers and that constant like it's just like, all right. And then I get tired of hearing, oh, it's been that way. That doesn't mean it's not room for change or
Yeah,
growth or add.
that just makes it worse. You've tolerated it for this long. Why are we not trying to fix it? You know,
Right.
And unfortunately, I don't know how much better it can get, because the people that are the worst crybabies are now raising kids in the game. And so the kids are going to become crybabies and expect things and, complain about what I already see it now at youth events. Perfect example. Last year, Jax was 12. He led the field for the South Carolina Pepsi event.
Mm-hmm.
All age groups, 18-year-old kids, 8-year-old kids. Jax was 12. High score for the tournament. First round of qualifying. The 18-year-old kids, a couple of them, they were complaining. They was like, oh, he only did it because he bowls here.
Oh, it's always something.
It was on a pattern. It wasn't on the house shot. It was a pattern.
Right.
They were like, oh, it's his home house. That's the only reason he did that. Like, wait a minute, what? He bowled on the same thing you did on the same day.
Yeah, I don't get that. Even in
but those are kids. Kids are saying that. So that mindset, that behavior, that mindset, that behavior is just, it's just being passed down from, the people above them. And so, like I said, it's going to take a lot for it to get better. It's definitely not going to be anytime soon, because it's going to have to be a massive culture shock to get it better. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. I got to go. Like I said, I've already put the kid down, so now I've got some other stuff we got to get done before tomorrow. So
right,
I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yes.
Keep up the good work with everything you're doing, and try to stay sane being a district manager. And I know it's not easy.
Oh, I don't let it bother me too much. When I'm in district manager mode, it's only for brief periods of time, and then once I'm out of it, I'm not in it. So I don't let it bother me too much. They don't pay me enough to let it bother me too much.
I know that's right. All right, man, have a good night.
All right, dude. You too. Be good.
Now, also joining us right now, we have EK with the immaculate camera. Start calling him cameraman because of the camera views that he has on there, that he shared. Would love to see it put on YouTube. I mean, you put my camera to shame. I ain't really want to share how immaculate. But we have my outsider brother, EK, up here. He's gonna give us a recap as he was on a very interesting pair this Sunday versus Critical Role, where you was on a pair with Christian Knowles. You was on a pair against Christian Knowles, Panda, which is Josh Randino, and coming in town fresh out of college for college championship, Tyrell Ingles. And you was able to get the victory on that pair 8-2. How you feeling today, man? How's everything?
Oh, I'm feeling good, man. I can't complain.
Still on high match Sunday?
I ain't gonna say I'm on high, because I don't know. I felt like that match should have been a lot closer with the bowlers that we were going against, but I don't know. For some reason, college kids can't bowl on house shots. That still baffles me.
That's great that you mentioned that, because I saw Lane Moore posted that also, which kind of I've and let me also be fair. I have not been bowling that long, so I always kind of yield to the more experienced bowlers. But I don't get that, because to me, bowling is just adjustments. You see the same thing on the house that you would see. Now, when I say see, as far as your adjustment, you'll see, where the pins enter. I know the shot on sport, you got to be a little bit more technical, but you still trying to split the 8-10. The 8-9 last time I checked.
Yeah. So Monday I want to ask my ball driller, why does he think college bowlers can't bowl on house shots? And he was saying because they're taught to come up the back of the bowling ball And on house shots, we play house shots really left to right, and they kind of play things front to back. So when you put them in a different arena, I guess you could say, they can't see the lanes like they're supposed to. And that's what he was telling me. But, you know, in my head, I'm thinking, you know, you guys split, you know, you're trying to hit dimes on the lane in college, right? I put you on the house shot. You don't have to split a dime. All you have to do is hit an area. You know, you have, you know, this much room to hit down lane. And it's like, you know, they just never see it. Tyrell never matched up. Christian never shot over 200. You know, so I was just confused. Like I said, I felt like it should have been a lot more competitive than it was, but Rondino is Rondino. We knew he was gonna get his. You know,
he's a walking 750.
yeah. I'm like, yeah, we're not worried about you. You're gonna shoot 700. That's fine. But if they don't shoot with you, you know, you're dead. We put together 3 650s. You know, you're dead. That 700 is gonna get canceled out.
Right.
Christian didn't shoot over 200. Tyrell kind of figured it out at the end, but by that time, you know, you already lost a pair. So
yeah. He and then in those beginning, he was getting kind of frustrated in those beginning frames of it. But before we get too deep into it, describe that atmosphere when you first got there, and even leading up to first we got there, because you know, let's keep it real. We've kind of, the Outsiders and Critical Role kind of developed a little friendly rivalry that's actually part I have nothing to do with, that started their Thursdays at Delp at Lee. Can you kind of go into that with kind of the trash talk that y'all been having all season?
So yeah, that little rivalry started last year, Delk Road, in the championship match. We went up against Darnell Logan, Kevin Paulin, Daryl Dickinson, and I think Sean Corey. And 3 of those people are on Critical Role now. So that's kind of where the rivalry started. We always talk to each other. I bowl with Calvin Sr., Calvin Griffin Sr., Calvin Griffin Jr., and Michael Watts. So it was my 4 versus their 4, and we edged them out. My team, you know, on paper, we can't compare to them, but when they start striking, we're hard to beat. Nobody in that building can beat us when we're striking. And I'm going to stand on that forever. And we won the championship last year. And if they let us in the roll-off this year, we probably repeat. When my team is striking, can't nobody see us.
So that's kind of where it started, because I know I be seeing a lot, and when I do see Darnell, you know, he be saying, "Hey man, your guy's talking a lot of trash," you know. But it for where you at, Nick? I sent you the link, Nick. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to watch what I say, because we still may see them coming up in a position round.
I hope we do.
What they have not fared well against us this season. We beat them in the brawl, and then we beat them at Roswell and here. What is it about Critical Role that just makes the Outsiders kind of stand up and ready?
It's always a dogfight with them. They just, I don't know, for some reason they always fall apart. I feel like Critical Role is really good on paper, but I feel like sometimes your team can be, I guess, I don't want to say too good, but they just look really good on paper. A lot of times it never comes together, or somebody just has a really bad day. Mm-hmm. Sam had a really bad day Sunday. I don't know what got into Sam, but Sam had a really bad day.
It was funny because somebody asked me, because me and Sam which I didn't even realize until we were like halfway into the match. I'm like, man, we got the 2 owners matched up against each other.
Yeah, I've never seen Sam bowl that bad. Never.
Yeah, and the crazy part about it was, and we got Nick who joined us here, who was on that pair. Nick and Dwanye with Ek against that pair. The weird. Somebody asked me. They said, "Hey man, what did you do? You know, to Sam? What was it?" I said, "Man,
That was
sometimes
me.
you just gotta let red dogs lie. You like I saw him struggling, and I wasn't gonna give him no motivation to figure it out by talking trash to him. I left Sam alone. I
I
was
feel
like,
like
all
if he
right,
subs out, after the first game, they might can salvage that torch stop. Because shooting 150, 160, like, yeah, you put your team at a disadvantage. Especially
I
with,
sent
I
you the
think he
link.
has like a 230 book average, so you're already not really getting that many pins. So shooting
And
a
it was their home house.
160, yeah, that's tough.
So Nick, the question on the floor was, you know, how and you were an interesting addition. Hey Terry, I love you to death, but I got to tell a story. Nick was not in the lineup initially, and Nick Weems is a great example of you never know when your number is called and stay ready. I saw Nick when he first pulled up in the parking lot. The first thing he said to me is, "Yo, my stuff in the car if you need me." That was the first thing he said to me. So Terry was supposed to bowl. He ended up replacing Terry, who misplaced his jersey, and I don't know how. He wear a queen size mattress as a shirt,
Oh man.
big ass shirt. I don't know how you lose it, but. Tell me what that feeling was like, Nick, not being in the lineup, showing up to support your team, and then just getting implemented into the lineup, getting thrown, especially against a tough team like Critical Role.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. First of all, I should have been bowling first and foremost, but I didn't respond in time. So that was my fault. But I was like, I'm gonna still go up there and support no matter what. I had to go up there in the first place because I had to get a ball redone I had to check on what was going on with the bowling ball that the span was cut short on them. So I had to get that fixed and everything.
Not you throwing them under the bus.
Bruh, throwing everybody under the bus. But it was I mean, like I said, I always keep my stuff in the car. I'm always ready to bowl. Like if there's something going on and I could be there and I got a chance to bowl, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna make it happen. Um Unfortunately, I didn't have as high as a set if I wanted to because I went 280, 180, 180. So that's a little bit on me not following the transition because the lanes got toe up with all the rev rate we had. Um, but UVA, that's my second tour stop. It's always a fun atmosphere. Um, I love that. I come from Michigan, so we love the trash talking. That's how our leagues is most of the time, except for the Cowbells. Our leagues, we had a league up in Michigan on Sunday nights, old school league. They play music. We had fun. People be dancing. People be talking trash. All that. Like that's what you don't see down here in leagues in Georgia no more. That's how we want leagues to be. We want it to be more fun like that. But that's why I like bowling in the UBA.
Now that matchup. Now, when you saw who you was matched up against, what was your reaction? And was there? I don't want to say. I know it wasn't no worry, but was there anything like, okay, it's time to lock in?
Honestly, the only person I know on that team was Panda. Like I knew he was gonna get his. I didn't know nothing about the other two. I just knew that if they on the team together, they must be able to shoot something. But when I seen who team I was with, I'm like, oh, we Gucci. Like I wasn't worried about it. Like I got my boy D, I got my boy EK. I'm like, we good. We finna go ahead and take these points. Like I'm always locked in, no matter who I'm bowling. Like I know I got to shoot my best. Like because most of the time I'm not getting any handicap, so I know I got to shoot lights out most of the time to win some money or get my team to win.
Right. Now, when y'all are bowling and you're seeing that type of atmosphere and you're seeing your team behind you, what does that do for your game when you see, you got a little crowd? And I'm not even talking about the crowd that's bowling. I'm talking about the ones that's not bowling that came there to support the team, and you hear the cheering and we chanting and we outside. What does that do for your game and your confidence as y'all come back and y'all waiting to slap the high fives coming, in the back? What does that do for your confidence, even at that time, and then also going into league?
That turned me up, like for real. It could be to a detriment turning me up sometimes because I might get too hyped and go down there and fire a missile down the lane, not trying to. But it turned me up. That's the type of stuff that keep me going. Like I preach my team on Thursday night preach energy every week. Keep our energy up. As long as we keep the energy up, we always bowl good. Like when I got people behind me that ain't even bowling, keeping the energy up, that's a whole nother level. Like it just keep everything going, keep you in good spirits. Even if you throw a bad shot, that's all right. They cheer you on. You got them pick it up. You got the next shot coming up. You're gonna strike. Like it just keep your energy on the highest level possible.
Yep. Nah, what about you, EK?
I feel like the support behind you is one of the biggest aspects of UBA bowling. Usually I feel like the team with the most support, wherever you at, events, tour stops,
Yep.
if you got the support and you got a crowd behind you adding fuel to the flame, you're probably going to fare a lot better. I feel like with Critical Role, if they don't have Darnell Logan in the building, they're dead. Darnell Logan for Critical Role is like whether he's in the lineup or he's not in the lineup. He's gonna bring the energy. Like if they don't have Darnell Logan in the building, they're in trouble. And that's really what it looked like Sunday. And that's the first thing I told Darnell. I'm like, you dead ass wrong for not showing up to a tour stop versus us and not being in the building. I don't know what you had going on, and that's what you guys were talking about earlier, like with Complete Anarchy falling apart. You lose your core like that, the Sam Benefields and Darnell Logan's bringing that energy and hyping y'all up. Yeah, it's no surprise that they're bowling bad now. You need stuff like that in the UBA because the UBA is a loud and obnoxious.
Yeah, and they got a big matchup against DSL coming in the next stop. So they came with us and then followed with, an important matchup with DSL as they trying to make the playoff push or stay in there and make the playoffs.
It's too late in the season not showing up. Right now is pivotal. So not being there, especially when you're a catalyst for your team, is crazy. And then you got a tough schedule. Yeah.
Super tough. Now speaking of the energy with Darnell Logan, I'm sure a lot of people have seen the video that you posted and I posted between Robert Cook and Christian. Christian tried, I guess, to bring the hype, but as since it happened on your pair, y'all go ahead and describe what that was like as it was happening with Christian and Robert Cook.
So that match, I have been pretty much in their ear from the start. Every time they left something, if I was paying attention to it, I'm screaming "hold up" in their ear. So with Christian just saw the 7-10 and he decided, okay, I'm finna bark too. Hold up. Not realizing Cook just shot 278. Like he's hot. Another thing I don't think Christian realizes. So Christian, I kind of looked him up. Christian is 20, right? He doesn't know who Robert Cook is. He doesn't know Robert Cook holds, house records and shot 800. He's probably one of the best bowlers out of Southern. Honor score wise. Yeah, honor score wise, he's probably one of the best out of Southern. So I don't think Christian knew that. Now Christian is thinking in his head, okay, I'm a college bowler. I bowl on patterns. Like I really bowl for real in his head, not realizing, dude, we're on a house shot. All of that pattern stuff and you being able to throw the ball really good. Yeah, you probably looked at Robert Cook and like, he's just a house hag, whatever. But dude, you're not in college. This is the UBA. All of that stuff that you do outside of this doesn't matter right now. I don't care how good you think you are. your score doesn't reflect what you think in your head. You know, you didn't shoot over 200 all 3 games. And then you decide to bark at somebody that shot 278 first game. Yeah, I think that was just a lapse of judgment.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? What was it? Because you, Nick, with it being your first year in the UBA, your second tour stop, with you seeing something like that for the first time, like not necessarily for the first time, but what I mean by this time, by the first time, up close and personal, with you actually being involved in the match. What was going through your head when you saw it?
What's going through my head is you just got like I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but you just got 280 put on your head. Like you going at somebody who shot 279? Like I wouldn't, if I was him in that situation, I wouldn't have said nothing until I got my game right. Like I would have just been chilling, like trying to figure out what I'm doing over here. Like you gonna come at somebody like Robert who just ran 279 on your team, on your other team head. Like, nah, that's not something you should have done. You should have stayed quiet for the moment until you started stringing them or something.
And it was definitely hilarious because I didn't know where it came from. You know, being on it. You know, Robert was on my pair and Christian was on the other pair. I didn't know where that even came from. It was just hilarious to me because we all know Robert Cook. Robert gonna talk with the best of them and compete with the best of them. You know.
Yeah, Robert get hot. You might as well just go and pack it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you just said though, he was saying hold them every shot, every time they left something.
Yeah, I
Every time
kind
they
of
left a
set him up for
split,
failure. I didn't think he was going to
he's
do
like
that.
got
Though.
him. Like he contributed to him breaking and saying that to Robert Cook for sure.
And I think where Robert Cook gets underestimated is Robert Cook. Robert Cook will string them on you and then coach you at the same time.
Be coaching you the whole time.
Yes,
and don't be struggling on the pair.
Yo,
bro, finna dissect your whole game for you.
Yes,
man, you need to do this. You throwing the ball like this. It's like, bro,
let
me figure this shit out.
You as he beating you. So that was a big victory that we needed. Nick, talk us through your first years in the UBA this year. Like, what's this experience been, and how has it helped you? You know, as far as and how you think it will continue to help you with your bowling going forward.
Well, my first 2 stops. Hopefully another one coming up soon. But it's just been helping me concentrate more because I have an issue. Like, because coming from where I'm from, I get 2-lane courtesy. So I'm still trying to adjust to 1-lane courtesy. No matter how long I've been down here for 5 years, I'm still trying to adjust to 1-lane courtesy. Like I get distracted. My peripherals always catch somebody. So it's helping me with all the distractions and stuff. And ain't nobody finna give you 2-lane courtesy down here. If people know you and know you like that, they gonna give it to you. And you don't take long because some people take all day. Like I hate people that take a year to throw the ball.
Oh my gosh.
It's more or less just helping me with the distractions and controlling my emotions when I get too hyped up or when I get too down on myself. Because sometimes I have my meltdown. Sometimes I get too hyped. And like I said, I throw the ball right. I fire it 20 miles down the lane and it don't move and I have to figure shit out. But it just helped me out. It just helped me out with like distractions and everything.
And that makes sense because, like you said, one thing I will always say, I don't care what capacity you bowl UBA, it does make your bowling game better. It does help that concentration because you have to have the ultimate focus. Because I always say the hardest thing about UBA is not the trash talk. To me, it's not even the loud talk. It's when everybody's striking around you and you're not.
Yeah.
To me, that's the hardest part of the UBA because everybody can strike in here. It's not a it's not a rec league. It's not a sociable event where, oh, let me show you this. You know, most leagues, somebody from another pair could come down and be like, hey man, maybe you should try that. Ain't nobody giving you tips but your team. And if you don't have that type of team that y'all can bounce off of, it's not there. And I think with that being said, could y'all talk about the chemistry that y'all had on that pair? Because it definitely felt like even as well as their scratch bowlers bowled, um, it didn't feel like they had any chemistry on no pair at all, on none of the three pairs.
The
So
thing
that's
is, oh, go
uh,
ahead, you can. Go ahead.
that's big. That's big in the UVA too. And that's why I say Critical Role looks good on paper, but if you guys don't bowl well together, it doesn't matter, you know, what kind of averages you have, right? So if you're not matching up with the people that's on your pair, you guys can't lean on each other or talk to each other to get through the match. You know, it doesn't matter how good of a bowler you think you are. The UBA is just a different environment, especially like you said, when people are stringing them and it's loud. Your bar reaction is bad. Like, you know, the UBA will get, you know, it gets dark out there if you ain't got your shit together. It get real dark real fast. The scratch pair worked, so I guess that's something they could build off of. But everybody else kind of was just, you know, all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I gotta give Joe Ennis a big shout out. Joe, I give Joe a lot of flack, and it's just jokes. But Joe's really my guy. He's a nice guy, but I think Joe really held it down for the scratch pair.
he did.
I saw a different side of Joe this past Sunday. Shout out to Joe, and then somebody tag him in the comments for me. But Joe Joe won two of those games for them on that scratch pair because he needed to strike. And it's not easy striking with Demetrius.
Uh-uh.
It's not like when you see, and it's not the fact that Demetrius just be can strike. It's the way Demetrius strike. You know, and Joe, I don't feel like I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I saw Joe on the scratch pair matched up um against Demetrius, I was like, oh, we got this. I can't. I'm not even gonna sit here and hold you. Like I really was thinking like, oh, we got this. Like, but Joe didn't crack a smile, didn't make a joke. Joe put on his shirt and tie and went to work. You know, there was twice where we could have won the game if he didn't knock down a big strike in the 10th frame. I think the second game he had a double. Or he had a double, and I mean he he made them swag balls look good. You know?
That's Joe doesn't realize he's a good bowler. Joe lacks confidence, right?
Yeah.
Joe is always downplaying himself, not realizing you could throw the ball just like anybody else. You're not a bad bowler. Now, granted, I feel like he'll be a better bowler if he wasn't throwing swag stuff, but that's a different story. But he's not a bad bowler. He just lacks confidence. But I think Joe has been in the UBA long enough to where those stages don't affect him anymore. So now he's he's got the experience and the knowledge, and he can be on the scratch pair now, because that was a big surprise to me.
Shout out to Sam for making that decision. Not only was he on scratch, he was the anchor of that scratch pair.
Yeah, that was big.
That was shout out to Sam for even having that confidence in Joe to even put him in there in that position against, like I tell people all the time, our scratch pair, I would put them up against anybody. I like our scratch pair. I would put them up against anybody, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. DSL is the only one who I think can really compete with us scratch wise on our scratch pair. And it's not, like I said, it's not easy to strike against Demetrius when you see him. He's very intimidating. That's why I love having him in the lineup, because
His
like
game
just
is
like
very
Panda,
polarizing.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, that's a great way, because you could be like, even every tour stop. It's like it never ceased to amaze me how how well he is. And
And he's
for
getting
Joe to,
better. That's the scary
Yeah.
part.
Yes.
He's getting better.
Yeah, and congratulations as he just became. I think he's with Brunswick now.
I
So
think so. Yeah, I
congratulations.
think he just signed a contract with somebody.
Yeah. So, but shout out to Joe for withstanding that, and staying toe to toe with Demetrius in that. I give Joe a lot of flack, and a lot of people do too. But hey, I got to give you props when it's there. But I appreciate y'all for definitely coming on as we just recap this center. But last question before we go. When the atmosphere is like that, who's beating us?
Nobody.
Nobody at all.
Like you know what I wish that we had? I wish we had a legit camera crew. Because when we were loud, when that Robert and Christian situation was going on, I was looking at the other teams and everybody was like, it was people on the approach like this. Like, what's going on down there? Like, I think I think that's what the UBA needs. I would love to see more teams have that energy, not just us, because it makes it more fun. I think it will attract more people to want to bowl, and I love it. I feel like we some teams try to match the energy. They Critical Role tried, but like you said, without Darnell Logan, it was tough. But that is the energy that I was always expecting. That reminded me of playing back in high school basketball, like those days. Knocking down big shot after big shot, or the same as knocking down strike after strike, because I feel like one thing that DSL does well when they strike is like, how long can you strike? Because I can do this all day, and I think that's what ultimately what carries you. What are y'all thoughts?
So to talk about the climate for the UBA in the South, we're very mild mannered. Like nobody really talks trash. Every team has like that one or two people that might say something, but for the most part, our tour stops are quiet. Everybody's respectful. Nobody's talking trash. I feel like Christian, he just didn't know any better. So that's really how that situation got to that point. But we need more of that though. But like I said, I don't know, down here we just too respectful.
And shout out to Christian because he did try. Like I felt like watching the video back, it was almost like an effort to try to get his team hype. Like
He's trying to get him going.
Yeah, get him going. So it wasn't like he was, he did anything wrong.
No.
Maybe to the wrong person. But he should have. I mean, not he should have, but he tried to get his team going.
Yeah, he just had bad ball reaction. Like him and Tyrell, they just couldn't see it. And like I said, Panda was being Panda, so you got to let him be. But
yeah, he's going. Yeah, we know what he's going to do. He's going to strike.
he another one. Once he get lined up, it's pretty much lights out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Terry for losing his jersey that day.
Hey, all right. Terry losing his jersey, mate. Hey, Terry crawled so Nick could walk in the tour stop. So, but yeah, I appreciate y'all tagging on, man. I think our next tour stop is at
28th.
Yep, Southern Lanes on the 28th. There is DSL versus Critical Role, High Caliber versus Tri-City, Full Throttle versus Full Throttle versus the Outsiders, and then we have Southern Lanes versus Tri-City. Southern Lanes versus Top Shelf, which is a home. They both share the home of Southern Lanes. That's going to be interesting. Coming up, it's only going to get tougher. We have Full Throttle coming up twice. Critical Role has DSL followed by Southern to South. So they definitely have their work cut out for them. Hey, Jaime, I got to get you on one day, man. Hit me up. We got to work on the schedule. I love to, love to have you on to get up. I know Ray, we definitely got to have you on. This couple other people, but we definitely going to have to keep this going. I appreciate y'all, gentlemen, for tagging on, giving us the little insight on that. Great job Sunday. I got to shout out Nick Reed too. Nick Reed, sometimes, I think he's very nonchalant, and I think he gets a bad rep for being nonchalant. But Nick is a great guy. Nick saw the lineup that I put out, that I was going to put out, and he was like, "Nah, I don't like it. Nah, we need to do something else." And I was like, "All right, tell me what we need to do." And we went with the lineup that Nick's, suggested. So shout out to Nick for that. But that goes to show, like, if you have an idea, like, your owners will listen, if it makes sense, especially Nick Bowles with y'all that Thursday. So he knows that chemistry. So, shout out to Nick Reed for that, putting that suggestion in there. I know a lot of times people are scared to make suggestions, and, y'all guys know me from the team. I'm not it's my way or the highway type guy, but shout out to them. Shout out to Jacob and Juanita and Terry, because even though Terry forgot his jersey, he still showed up and cheered us on. Shout out to, so shout out to them because they was loud, especially Jacob. Jake, that's a funny dude.
Definitely is.
That's a funny dude, boy. But y'all, everyone have a great night. We'll be on tomorrow with Amanda Franco, the owner of DSL. I can't wait. I'm excited to have her on. She's the one that kind of started, she had the first UBA team in Georgia, and it's growing from there. So I'm excited to hear her journey, hearing her start, hearing her, mindset in building that type of team. And then, because I know it's a different mindset when she actually started the team from now. And I know a lot of people don't understand why they had so many, but I did hear the story of why and what the mindset was. So I'm excited for her to share that with everyone tomorrow. So tomorrow, it is also, it's probably going to be around 10 o'clock because I'm going to fly home after league so we can get that started. And so we ain't up there too late. So, but appreciate y'all, gentlemen, for tagging on, giving us your insight on this last tour stop. Y'all have a good night, and appreciate everybody for watching. Everybody who viewed, people who's on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like, subscribe to Outside 72. Everyone have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Peace out. Thanks for having us.